Chapter 376. He had a good impression of Ningbo during this month. That was why Qin Shujian had left the command token behind. However, this was a fortuitous encounter for Yifutyan, and it was also a final test for Yifutyan. If Ningbo could really head to the Liang Mountain region, then he would give Yifutyan a chance to step foot into the cultivation world. If Yifutyan chose to give up, then it had nothing to do with him. As for dying midway, it showed that Yifutyan didn't have enough luck and couldn't bear such a fortuitous encounter. How should he choose? It was entirely up to Ningbo. Qin Shujian had merely provided him with an opportunity. That was all. On the other side, Zhang Ergu was eating and drinking well in the Flying Crane sect now. He was an elder of the Origin sect. It was destined that the Flying Crane sect didn't dare be negligent at all. Even the sect master, Bai Hengzi, was polite to him. During this period of time, it was probably the most comfortable period of time Zhang Ergu had spent besides the time in the sect. No, it should be even more comfortable than when he was in the sect. The only problem was, the spirit energy in the Flying Crane sect was too weak. Otherwise, everything would be perfect. Elder Zhang, are you used to living in the Flying Crane sect? Bai Hengzi chuckled in a courtyard. The two of them sat opposite each other. There was a chessboard in the middle, and it showed that they were playing. Even though Zhang Ergu hadn't come into contact with the Tao of chess before, with his cultivation realm, he only needed Bai Hengzi to teach him a little, and he would be able to grasp the basics. However, he was only at the basics. Seriously speaking, Zhang Ergu was still a terrible chess player. If Bai Hengzi hadn't given way to him, he would have lost countless times. The Flying Crane sect isn't bad. Thank you for your hospitality, Sect Master Bai. Haha. It's my Flying Crane sect's honor that Elder Zhang is able to stay here. You're treating me like an outsider. Bai Hengzi smiled. Even though the person before him was only an outer court elder of the Origin sect, he found out that the person before him was a domain spirit god. If it was in terms of true strength, it was above him. Therefore, even though Zhang Ergu was being chased by Qiu Yushan, Bai Hengzi did not underestimate him. This was especially so for this elder of Yuan's sect, who even had a Tao artifact with him. Evidently, he was highly regarded by the sect master of Yuan's sect. As long as the other party was happy. In that case, the Flying Crane sect could be considered to have built a connection with Yuan's own. Even though Falling Moon Prefecture sects wanted to seek refuge with Baiyun Prefecture sections, it would be embarrassing if word got out. However, that also depended on which sect it was. The Sky Origin sect was a famous top-notch sect, not only in the Baiyun Prefecture, but also in the cultivation world of the Great Zhao 13 prefectures. If the Flying Crane sect could be connected, not only would the other sects not mock them, but they would be even more jealous. He had to give them a chance. Maybe they would do something even more outrageous than the Flying Crane sect. The two of them chatted as they played chess. They said it was a game of chess. It was more accurate to say that Bai Hengzi was giving in to Zhang Ergu. Otherwise, the game would have ended long ago. It was also at this moment. An elder rushed in and said anxiously, "Sect Master, something big has happened." What happened? Bai Hengzi frowned. Even Zhang Ergu, who was about to place a chess piece on the board, paused for a moment and looked at the elder. A heavenly human demon from the moon-devouring wolf clan has left the endless mountain range and destroyed 3 cities along the way. They have destroyed dozens of sects and are heading towards the Chongning True Dominion. It is very likely that they are seeking revenge for that wolf demon. Their target is definitely the Flying Crane sect. What? Upon hearing that, Bai Hengzi's expression changed immediately. He had not expected that at all. The moon-devouring wolf clan was really daring. They had attacked the Falling Moon Prefecture and destroyed sects along the way for a mere demon. This was completely unexpected. Bai Hengzi was not the only one. Even Zhang Ergu's expression changed drastically. This was not a simple matter. It involved a heavenly human demon. Such an existence. It was almost a walking disaster. Sect Master, what should we do? Don't panic. The heavenly human demon has entered the Chongning True Dominion. Those heavenly human demons will not sit still, Bai Hengzi said in a deep voice after taking a deep breath. However, even though he said that, his heart was still trembling. A heavenly human demon. Many people would die if something went wrong. In the past, the experts of the Imperial Court and the Marquis of the Falling Moon Prefecture would definitely suppress any heavenly human demon that entered the Chongning True Dominion. However, now that might not be the case. At the moment, the Imperial Court and the Marquis of the Falling Moon Prefecture were in full swing. Almost all the experts from both sides had been deployed. There was no extra force to deal with a heavenly human demon. Moreover, even if both sides stopped fighting temporarily and turned to deal with the demons, they would still need time to get used to each other. If they did not make a move in time, the Flying Crane sect would be in trouble. However, Bai Hengzi kept these things to himself. There was no need to say it out loud and cause too much panic. After calming himself down, he looked at the elder and asked in a deep voice, "Where is the heavenly human demon now?" "I'm afraid he will reach the Chongning True Dominion soon. Arrange for some of the disciples to evacuate first. Although the possibility of the heavenly human demon coming is not high, we still have to be cautious and avoid too many accidents." "What about you, Sect Master?" As the Sect Master, how can I retreat at the last minute? I'll wait for him for a while." Bai Hengzi snorted and said arrogantly. The elder sighed in admiration. "I admire your decision, Sect Master. Let's cut the crap and go make the arrangements quickly." "Yes." After the elder left, Bai Hengzi looked at Zhang Ergo and asked, "Elder Zhang, do you want to evacuate with the Flying Crane sect disciples?" "Since Sect Master Bai isn't leaving, how can I leave first?" "Haha, Elder Zhang is so bold." The two of them looked at each other and smiled. There was a tacit understanding between them. If the heavenly human demon really came, no one would stay there and wait for death. But now that the heavenly human demon had not arrived yet, if he were to flee at the first sign of trouble, that would be a bit embarrassing. It didn't matter if the disciples of the other sects evacuated. However, if Sect Master Bai Hengzi fled, the Flying Crane sect would be disgraced. As for Zhang Ergo, he was not in a hurry at all. He still had a life-saving trump card in his hand. Even if the heavenly human demon came, he was confident that he could stop him. At least, there was no problem in fleeing. At that moment, a terrifying aura came from the sky. It was vast and mighty, as if a god had descended. As the terrifying might gushed out, it even caused the sky to change. A 1,000 feet tall wolf traveled in the sky like a mountain, turning everything in its path into ruins. "How dare the human kill my son? I'll bury all of you today." Supremacy devouring moon's angry roar reverberated in the sky above the eternal peace true dominion. Everyone's expression changed. His body, which had originally been 10,000 feet tall, was now only about 1,000 feet tall due to the shackles of the true dominion. However, he still gave off a strong visual impact. His terrifying strength made all the cultivators' expressions change. As for the Flying Crane sect, Bai Hengzi and Zhang Ergu's faces were as black as ink. A heavenly human demon. He had come too quickly. He had arrived at the eternal peace true dominion so quickly. His speed had exceeded their imagination. Furthermore, they could sense that this brutal aura was rapidly approaching. They could be sure. This heavenly human demon was definitely coming for the Flying Crane sect. After a short silence, Bai Hengzi roared furiously, "All Flying Crane sect disciples, evacuate from the eternal peace true dominion." Upon saying that, he looked at Zhang Ergo and said solemnly, "Elder Zhang, are you willing to help the Flying Crane sect?" This request, Bai Hengzi was not sure if Zhang Ergo would agree. Even if he did, he might exhaust this favor. However, for him, he had to fight for enough time for the Flying Crane sect disciples to evacuate. Or else, if the Flying Crane sect's legacy was cut off, he would be ashamed to face the ancestors of the Flying Crane sect even if he died. Since Sect Master Bai has spoken, how can I refuse? "Thank you." Bai Hengzi expressed his gratitude in a very solemn manner. Immediately, the two of them left the Flying Crane sect and rushed towards the source of the aura. Finally, they stopped at the place where Qiu Yushan was killed. At this moment, that brutal and terrifying aura was already close at hand. Its body was 1,000 feet tall like a mountain. Even if it was a few hundred miles away, it could still be seen clearly. Bai Hengzi was speechless when he saw that huge body. That was a powerful demon. If its body was a little bigger, it would be taller than the Flying Crane sect's mountain gate. As for Qiu Yushan's original monster race true body, compared to this, it was simply a small child in the presence of a great one. How could they fight it? A single strand of hair from its body could probably crush many people to death. Zhang Ergu calmed down a little. After seeing the huge body of the sky-reaching ape, he was not too surprised when he saw Supremacy Devouring Moon's 1,000-feet-tall body. He only saw him holding the cosmic bow. Then, he drew the bow and knocked an arrow. The moment the bowstring was pulled, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth gathered toward the longbow and attached to the cloud-piercing arrow. One end of the arrow was already aimed at the 1,000-feet-tall wolf. Or rather, he did not need to aim. After all, the 1,000-feet-tall wolf was there. As long as he was not blind, he could shoot it. When the bowstring was pulled to a full moon, Zhang Ergu loosened his fingers. The moment the cloud-piercing arrow flew out, the vital essence in his dantian was completely consumed. The arrow flew out. Like a shooting star, it flew straight towards Supremacy Devouring Moon. Doctrine Artifact. Supremacy Devouring Moon's huge eyes were indifferent. He did not move at all. He simply contracted his abdomen and then opened his mouth. A hurricane of energy swept across the world. The next moment, it collided with the cloud-piercing arrow. The hurricane swept out, changing the color of the world. Layers of wind superimposed, forming a terrifying attack and an unbreakable defense. The cloud-piercing arrow only pierced through 2/3 of the hurricane before its power was completely exhausted. In the end, it was blasted away by the terrifying force. Before it even landed, the arrow seemed to have been summoned. It forcibly reversed its direction and flew back. In the blink of an eye, it had fallen into Zhang Ergu's hands. Chapter 377. Terrifying. That was the only thought in their minds. Especially Zhang Ergu. He knew the power of the cosmic bow and the cloud-piercing arrow better than Bai Hengzi. The combination of the two, their strength was comparable to a 3-seal Dao weapon. Even though the Dao weapon's strength would be weakened under the true Dominion shackles, its power could not be underestimated. However, now, it could not harm Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. It should not be said that it could not harm him. It could not even get close to him. Seeing this, Zhang Ergu did not dare hesitate. His storage ring flashed and a spirit stone appeared in his hand. If he had used it to deal with Qiu Yushan previously, it would have been a waste. Now, he would use it to deal with Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. It was just right. The remaining quintessential essence gathered in his hand. Zhang Ergu's spiritual force moved, and the spirit stone in his hand was thrown out like a cannonball. Then, innumerable array patterns spread out from the spirit stone and formed a huge array in an instant, engulfing Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. Buzz. The void trembled. In Bai Hengzi's line of sight, Venerable Devouring Moon's figure disappeared the moment the formation pattern engulfed him. This is an array formation. Unlike the North Cloud Prefecture, where the array Dao had declined, the Fallen Moon Prefecture was not a place where the array Dao prevailed. Just like the Chongning True Dominion, there were also some sects that focused on array formations. Bai Hengzi could see some clues about the array formation when Zhang Ergu had used the Spirit Stone. However, everyone was an array formation. He had never seen an array formation engulfing a heavenly human demon like this. After all, even in the Fallen Moon Mansion, a formation grandmaster was extremely rare. Upon seeing Bai Hengzi's shocked expression, Zhang Ergu smiled proudly and said, "This array formation was personally created by my sect master. It is enough to trap a heavenly human demon. As long as this array formation exists, it will not be easy to get rid of it, even if it does not kill it. So it was created by sect master Qin. No wonder." Bai Hengzi was enlightened. Qin Shu was a famous sword array grandmaster. In the cultivation world of the 13 constabularies, anyone with a bit of knowledge would have heard of him. As for now, in the Chongning True Dominion, the other sects that were preparing to flee were also stunned when they saw Supremacy Devouring Moon suddenly disappear. They did not understand what had happened. Could it be that Marquis Moonfall took action and subdued the celestial human demon? Impossible. Even if Marquis Moonfall had taken action, how could there be no movement at all? Could it be that the celestial great monster has left? However, all the cultivators who noticed the disappearance of Reverend Moon Devourer's aura and got closer looked at each other. There was a sudden change in the situation. The completion was beyond their expectations. However, there were also some knowledgeable array masters who vaguely guessed some things the moment they saw the formation patterns appear. Supremacy Devouring Moon didn't disappear. It was just that it was blocked by the formation. But when he thought of this, those array masters were shocked once again. To be able to block a celestial human fae, what level of array formation did it have to be? At least, it had to be done by an array Dao Grandmaster. Could Grandmaster Fong of the Heavenly Array Sect have taken action? It must be. Apart from Grandmaster Fong, who else in the Fallen Moon Mansion has such means? It was also at this moment. Boom! The void shook violently, and thousands of formation patterns appeared, emitting a dazzling light. There was a sudden change. It made Bai Hengze's heart skip a beat. He asked, Elder Zhang, what's the problem? It should be that great demon attacking the formation. Zhang Ergu was surprised, but he still forced himself to calm down and said, Sect Master once said that this formation will definitely have no problem trapping the celestial human demon. Although he's attacking the formation now, it's impossible for him to break the formation before the spirit chi of the spirit stones is exhausted. That's good. Bai Hengze heaved a sigh of relief. He did not ask for a long time. As long as he could delay for another day and a half, it would be enough for the people of the Flying Crane sect to evacuate. As for other things, Bai Hengze did not think too much about it now. However, not many people of the Flying Crane sect had evacuated yet, so he could not leave just like that. At least, as the sect master, he had to be the one bringing up the rear. Boom! At this moment, the formation patterns that were shining brightly suddenly shattered. A giant wolf that was 1,000 feet tall stepped on the void and howled furiously at the sky. The sound waves rolled in all directions, causing the clouds within 1,000 miles to disperse and the blazing sun to shine on the ground. Seeing this, Bai Hengze and Zhang Ergu looked at each other speechlessly. At this moment, Zhang Ergu did not know how to explain. If he remembered correctly, when Qin Shujian handed the spirit stones to him, he did say that the formation inside was enough to intercept a celestial human powerhouse. However, the other party did not tell him. The so-called interception. It took less than the time to brew a cup of tea. Zhang Ergu's face turned green. If he had known that the siege would be so short, he would definitely not have stood there calmly and pretended to be cool. He would have turned around and run long ago. But now, seeing that the huge eyes of Supremacy Devouring Moon were staring at him, Zhang Ergu knew that he might be finished. It's you two human ants who killed my son. Hearing this, Bai Hengze and Zhang Ergu finally understood why the other party dared to directly barge into the Fallen Moon Mansion and start a massacre regardless of the danger. Qiu Yushan, whose feelings were killed. He was actually the son of a celestial human demon. Today, all of you will die. Supremacy Devouring Moon was filled with murderous intent. The ant-like humans in his eyes were the culprits who killed his only son. The Chaoyang Divine Mirror had already sent back all the information. It was the aura that belonged to the murderer. Supremacy Devouring Moon would never forget it. It was not easy for the Moon-Devouring Wolf clan to have children, especially the higher the realm, the harder it was to have children. For thousands of years, Supremacy Devouring Moon only had one descendant, Qiu Yushan. It could be said that he had poured in blood, sweat, and tears to cultivate him, so that he could reach the god martial arts realm in just a few hundred years. In fact, he had already been internally determined to be the next king of the Moon-Devouring Wolf clan. However, now, everything was ruined. Qiu Yushan was dead. This meant that Supremacy Devouring Moon's lineage was completely cut off. With his current realm, it was undoubtedly a fantasy for him to give birth to another child. This hatred was enough to end his lineage. Supremacy Devouring Moon had been completely blinded. If he did not kill all the murderers, he would not be able to take this lying down. Today, not only will all of you die, but I will also bury the entire human clan of the Chongning True Dominion with you. Supremacy Devouring Moon's loud voice spread in all directions as he roared. Everyone who heard this, their expressions changed drastically. Clouds and clouds gathered in the sky as a massive amount of heaven and earth spirit energy surged over. Supremacy Devouring Moon suddenly opened his mouth and let out a deafening roar. Roar. The roar shook the earth and the mountains. The terrifying sound waves transformed into a hurricane that suddenly erupted and engulfed by Hengzi and Zhang Ergu below. That terrifying power. Even a cultivator's protective aura would be easily torn to shreds by this attack. Qiu Yushan's strength was powerful enough. However, compared to Supremacy Devouring Moon, the difference was like heaven and earth. The first thought that came to their minds was to retreat. However, Supremacy Devouring Moon's attack covered a wide area and did not give them a chance to retreat at all. Zhang Ergu did not have to do anything. The cosmic bow also absorbed a large amount of heaven and earth spirit energy and shot it out as a spirit arrow. Thousands of cold gleams collided with the hurricane. However, the spirit arrow was only blocked for a short moment before it was shattered by the powerful force. Boom! Monstrous waves rose up from the ground, and with an overwhelming momentum, they collided with the hurricane. The terrifying force spread out and caused by Hengzi and Zhang Ergu to retreat. It was a sudden turn of events. While Bai Hengzi was shocked, he was also at a loss. Only Zhang Ergu's eyes lit up when he saw that attack. He said in joy, "Great Desolation Devil Suppressing Seal. Sect Master is here. Great Wilderness Devil Suppression Seal." It was available on the 4th floor of the library. All of the elders had studied this martial art before. However, this martial technique was too mysterious, and there were not many people who truly cultivated it. As for the terrifying peak level of cultivation, only one person in the entire Yuan sect could do that. Upon hearing that, Bai Hengzi was shocked as well. Sect Master. The Yuan sect master. Thinking of this, he immediately looked in front of him. At the moment, the two attacks erupted with a strong wave. Under the impact of the huge force, the void was slightly distorted and blocked one's vision. After everything calmed down, he saw a person flying in the air with his hands behind his back and looking at Supremacy Devouring Moon from afar. Heavenly Human Demon? Looking at Supremacy Devouring Moon in front of him, Qin Shujian looked solemn. Since Supremacy Devouring Moon stepped into the Chongning True Dominion, he had already arrived. However, he did not appear immediately. He did not show himself immediately. Instead, he wanted to see if the fallen Moon Manor would send any experts to stop him. Until later, Zhang Ergu used all the trump cards he had given him, but he could not hold on for more than 10 minutes. Regarding this, Qin Shujian was also shocked. He was well aware of the power of the array formation he had inscribed. In the spirit realm, the formation just now could stop experts like Lord Six Desires for at least a few hours. However, in front of the great demon in front of him, it was not even enough for 10 minutes. The opponent's strength was definitely far more terrifying than Lord Six Desires. Great demon, and a demon king. Since the demon clan stopped hiding from the world, Qin Shujian began to collect some information about the demon clan. Demon experts who had just entered the heavenly human realm could be called great demons. Demons above the 4th level of the heavenly human realm could be called demon kings. As for those above the 7th level of the heavenly human realm, they were called demon sages. As for demon emperors, Qin Shujian, on the other hand, had no idea what kind of realm he was in, just like human emperors. For the human clan, the realm of human emperors was also a mystery. Therefore, when the formation was broken and Zhang Ergu was about to die, he had to come out of the dark. Looking at Supremacy Devouring Moon in front of him, Qin Shujian had already used the ability of the spiritual eye. Chapter 378. Name: Moon Devouring Demon King. Title: Identity: Faction Level: Realm. When he saw the name column, Qin Shujian's pupils constricted slightly. Moon Devouring Demon King. He was indeed a Demon King level expert. As for the last bit of doubt in his heart, when he saw the other party's attributes, he understood. Demon King level expert. He was above the 4th level heavenly human and below the 7th level. However, Qin Shujian was not sure. Was the Moon Devouring Demon King at the peak of the Demon King level? Who are you? How dare you stop me? The Moon Devouring Demon King said coldly. Based on his experience, it was not difficult to see that Qin Shujian's strength had not reached the heavenly human level. Qin Shujian put his hands behind his back and looked at the moon-devouring demon king. He said faintly, Yuanzong, Qin Shujian. Yuanzong. The moon-devouring demon king's eyes flickered. Yuanzong, Qin Shujian. He was familiar with this name. After all, this person had killed one of the 12 Netherworld envoys. This alone was enough to make him famous in the demon clan. Not to mention, he was also an array grandmaster. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not have much fear. In his opinion, a first-level grandmaster cultivator was only comparable to a heavenly human demon. How could he resist a demon king? Therefore, when Qin Shujian spoke, the moon-devouring demon king sneered and said, "How dare a mere array grandmaster try to stop me? Fine, I'll kill you here today to do the heavenly eagle clan a favor." "Let's give it a try then." Qin Shujian's lips curled into a cold smile. If they were in the spirit protectorate, he would definitely run as far as he could if he saw the moon-devouring demon king. Even though he was an array grandmaster, he would also run away. After all, his strength could deal with an ordinary heavenly human demon. However, the difference in strength between him and a demon king was too great. However, things were different now. In the true dominion, even a demon king's strength would be suppressed. In terms of strength, he should be similar to Tianai Evil Lord. Although the evil fiend sealed by the 9 astral light array was not as strong as a demon god, it was definitely a top evil fiend. Fiend celestials were existences at the 7th level of the Deva human realm and above, comparable to Fey sages. As for the top evil demons, he was probably even stronger than the average demon king. Since he could even suppress the sky fiend lord Qin Shujian, the moon-devouring fiend king before him was naturally nothing in his eyes. So much so that Qin Shujian already had plans to kill the moon-devouring demon king. If I can devour a demon king, I'm afraid the source of life will be very rich. After all, a half-step celestial being from the Black Abyss had provided him with 1,000,000 life points. If he swallowed a demon king, then it might even provide tens of millions of life sources. Thinking of this, he looked at the moon-devouring beast king with a burning gaze. 10 million life sources. This was not a small number. I'll devour you today and then destroy the Chongning True Dominion. The moon-devouring demon king felt that his dignity as a demon king had been trampled upon. How dare a human who was not even a celestial being be so arrogant in front of him? Boom. A moment later, the moon-devouring demon king roared furiously as sound waves rolled out. A terrifying force tore through everything in an instant. Everywhere it passed, the space vibrated and rippled. Qin Shujian stood motionless on the spot. For universal skylocks pierced the void as his strength was raised to the limit of the true dominion. Then, he struck out with the great desolate fiend suppression seal. The terrifying power collided with the power of the sound wave with an earth-shattering momentum. Boom! A terrifying sound reverberated throughout the entire Chongning True Dominion as a vast remnant wave spread out. The clouds within thousands of miles dissipated completely. Only the 4 universal skylocks pierced the void. Instantly, everyone was speechless. Universal skylock. Not everyone had seen it before, and not everyone had heard of it. However, only cultivators who knew about the existence of the universal skylock would understand what the 4 skylocks that pierced the void represented. They represented invincibility. True invincibility. In the true dominion, even a celestial being would find it difficult to contend against them. Universal skylock. The moon-devouring demon king was also staring in shock at the 4 skylocks that pierced the void. Based on his shallow understanding of Qin Shujian, he only knew that Qin Shujian was an array Dao Grandmaster. As for condensing the 4 universal skylocks, his strength was enough to break the shackles of the true dominion. The moon-devouring demon king had no idea. After all, in the eyes of a demon king, apart from celestial being realm experts, the rest of the cultivators and demons were not worthy of his attention. Even ordinary celestial being realm cultivators, the moon-devouring demon king might not remember much. The reason he could remember Qin Shujian's name was because Qin Shujian had killed one of the 12 Netherworld envoys and was wanted by the heavenly demon guards. In an instant, the moon-devouring demon king had an impulse to turn around and retreat. He knew very well that the 4 universal skylocks represented something in the true dominion. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not retreat easily because of his son's death and the dignity of the moon-devouring demon king. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not act rashly either. His 1,000-foot body transformed into a middle-aged man. He looked at Qin Shujian with his hands behind his back and said in a low voice, "I'm only here to avenge the death of my son. If you step aside, I won't hurt anyone else in the true dominion." The meaning behind his words, he seemed to be admitting defeat. Bai Hengzi, who was below, was even more shocked. The moon-devouring demon king had admitted defeat. In other words, even a celestial realm powerhouse was extremely fearful when facing this sect master Qin. 4 universal skylocks. He is indeed the first spirit dominion protectorate lord in 1,000 years. Bai Hengzi took a deep breath. However, he was also slightly worried. If the other party did not want to fight the moon-devouring demon king head-on, the Flying Crane sect might become a sacrifice. Under such circumstances, as the sect master of the Flying Crane sect, he had no right to speak. In the sky, Qin Shujian naturally saw the moon-devouring demon king admitting defeat. However, he had no intention of backing down. Instead, he instantly formed a seal. As his spiritual ether erupted, the 4 universal heavenly locks vibrated violently. A seal of the overturning ocean was formed. In an instant, the power of the seal of the overturning ocean shook the void and pressed down on the moon-devouring demon king. "If you want me to step aside, let the demon saint of the demon clan come forward." How arrogant! The moon-devouring demon king was instantly enraged. As a demon king, he was willing to take a step back. He did not expect the other party to not give him any face at all. The 4 universal skylocks were indeed powerful. However, the moon-devouring demon king was not to be trifled with. If he wanted to fight, then he would fight. Therefore, the moment Qin Shujian attacked, the moon-devouring demon king pushed his palm forward. His quintessential essence surged like waves and turned into a shocking shield of energy that collided with the attack. The two collided. The shield of energy shattered. The moon-devouring demon king immediately took out a bronze mirror. It was the morning sun divine mirror that Qiu Yushan had previously possessed. Now, it was even more powerful in his hands. The bronze mirror flew out. 10,000 rays of golden light condensed into one. It seemed like it could shatter the void in an instant. "Bow, come." Qin Shujian stretched out his hand. The cosmic bow and cloud-piercing arrow that were originally beside Zhang Ergu instantly flew into his hands. He knocked an arrow on the bow. Everything was done in one go. Boom! The arrow flew out and collided with the golden light. A terrifying force effortlessly shattered the golden light and landed accurately on the bronze mirror. Buzz! The bronze mirror trembled violently. The divine light on it was obscure. It was directly blasted away by the cloud-piercing arrow. When the moon-devouring demon king summoned it back, the divine light on it had dimmed. It seemed to have suffered a serious injury. The arrow shot down the morning sun divine mirror. The cosmic bow was also trembling with excitement. Even when Qiu Yushan died, the bronze mirror still escaped through the void. It did not give the cosmic bow a chance to display its might at all. Now, in Qin Shujian's hands, it had shot down the other party. This made the Cosmos bow feel proud and elated. One word. Awesome. On the other side, after Qin Shujian shot down the morning sun divine mirror, he let go of the cosmic bow. He took a step forward and the weather changed. He used the great, desolate devil-suppressing seal again to suppress the moon-devouring demon king. Roar! The moon-devouring demon king no longer maintained his human form. He regained his 1,000-foot body. A giant wolf that was no smaller than a mountain roared in the air. Its claws, which were like huge millstones, were wrapped in a frightening amount of true essence. It directly bombarded the mountain phantom that was suppressing it. The mountain range collapsed. The giant claw's momentum didn't stop as it continued to attack Qin Shujian. He took a step forward. His body disappeared from its original spot. In an instant, Qin Shujian had already passed through the attack of the huge claws and approached the moon-devouring Demon King. He lifted his hand and used the great desolate devil-suppressing seal again. A huge body condensed in the sky. A palm that was hundreds of feet in size landed with a loud bang. Boom, boom. At this moment, in the sky above the Chongning True Dominion, a human and a demon were engaged in an intense battle. Every collision set off a boundless gale that spread out in all directions. All the cultivators in the True Dominion were extremely powerful. When they felt the terrifying aftershock, their minds were shaken as they looked at everything in the void in horror. One had to know, in a True Dominion, not only true Martial Realm cultivators, but even Spirit Martial Realm and God Martial Realm cultivators would also come to the Ordinary Realm. But at this moment, it didn't matter if it was Jinwu or Shenwu. In the face of such an attack, they all felt their own weakness. Rumble, lightning gathered in the sky. As the man and the demon exchanged blows, the entire True Dominion sky started to tremble faintly, as though it would shatter at any moment. Less than an hour had passed since the start of the fight. The moon-devouring Demon King was at a disadvantage. Even a heavenly human Demon King would find it difficult to fight against a force that could break the shackles of the True Dominion. If it wasn't for the fact that his physical body had been refined to a level comparable to a Dao artifact, he wouldn't have been able to do so. Right now, he was probably heavily injured. But even so, every time they collided, the moon-devouring Demon King's blood would surge. In the end, when he forcefully withstood a devil-suppressing seal, he finally gave up on the idea of fighting. He made a feint and turned around to escape. Chapter 379. His son's death? His dignity as a Demon King? These were not the most important things to the moon-devouring Demon King. From his point of view, as long as he returned to the Endless Mountain Range, he would still be the king of the moon-devouring wolf clan. As for the fact that he had been forced to flee by a human who was not even a heavenly being, it would not have much of an impact even though he would lose some face if word of this got out. After all, the moon-devouring Demon King was a Demon King-level expert after all. Which demon was this? How dare they gossip in front of him? However, the moon-devouring Demon King wanted to leave, but Qin Shujian did not intend to let him leave so easily. This was at least 10 million life sources. How many evil demons would he have to kill? How many demon beasts would he have to kill? In the end, he would be able to gather 10 million life sources. Not to mention, 10 million life sources was an understatement. If he thought about it more broadly, tens of millions of life sources were not impossible. How could Qin Shujian let such a fat wolf go? If he left the True Dominion, he did not know when he would have the chance to personally kill a Demon King. Therefore, just as the moon-devouring Demon King was about to escape, he took a step into the sky and waved his hand. The nine-sided array disc flew out of his storage ring and transformed into a huge array that engulfed the moon-devouring Demon King. In an instant, the moon-devouring Demon King's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. The huge array was set up. Qin Shujian did not intend to rely on an array formation to deal with the moon-devouring Demon King. In the True Dominion, his array Dao cultivation level was not as useful as his own strength. He rubbed his knuckles. Qin Shujian took a step forward and entered the array formation. Inside the array formation, the moon-devouring Demon King was attacking the huge array. The nine-sided array disc was vibrating violently, as if it could not withstand the impact of the force. After all, the nine-sided array disc was only an inferior-grade spirit weapon. The array engravings on it had been personally left behind by Qin Shujian. However, it was not a problem for the array to deal with a heavenly being or a Demon King. At that moment, Qin Shujian also entered the array. The moon-devouring Demon King's attack slowed down slightly. He looked at the other party coldly and said, "Do you want to use such a formation to keep me here? A First Realm Grandmaster can't deal with a greater Demon King. I don't need to deal with you. I just need to stop you." Qin Shujian smiled, but his smile was full of coldness. Speaking of which, I, Qin, have never killed a true monster king before. Perhaps I'll be able to taste it today. Human, you're indeed powerful after condensing 4 universal heavenly lock. However, don't think that you can run amok in the world with just this kind of strength. Aren't you a little ignorant of the immensity of heaven and earth? It's not enough to run amok in the world, but it should be more than enough to kill you. I'm enough. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Shujian launched a fierce attack on the moon-devouring Demon King. It was as if a huge dragon had risen from his back. Every move he made was filled with terrifying power. On the other side, the moon-devouring Demon King's ferocious nature was completely unleashed. The formation was obstructing him. With Qin Shujian's threat in front of him, he had no chance of breaking the formation at all. Under such circumstances, he would only have a chance to get out of this predicament if he really fought with the other party. As the two of them exchanged blows, the powerful aftershock spread out. Even the formation could not completely block it. In the sky, the dense sound of thunder exploded. It was as if it had directly bombarded the hearts of all the cultivators. Under the cover of the formation, they could not see the situation inside clearly. However, with the power of the formation, as well as the mighty fluctuation, these people could also tell that the two of them were currently fighting. Your sect master is really, really powerful. After thinking for a long time, Bai Hengzi could not think of any words to describe Qin Shujian. In the end, he forced out a sentence that was neither fish nor fowl from his mouth. He was not blind. The moon-devouring Demon King was about to leave earlier, but he was forcefully stopped by the other party. How powerful was Qin Shujian? Bai Hengzi knew a little about it. The other party did not even seem to have reached the god martial arts realm. He was just a vision divine realm cultivator. However, even so, he still dared to stop a heavenly human demon king. This made him feel a little breathless. However, Qin Shujian's strength really shocked Bai Hengzi. He had only heard about the rumors of condensing 4 universal heavenly locks. He had never seen it with his own eyes. Now that he saw it with his own eyes, he finally understood how terrifying it was to be able to reach this step. Even a heavenly human demon king was unwilling to fight with him. Of course, Bai Hengzi still did not know that the moon-devouring demon king was a demon king level expert. Otherwise, he would be even more shocked. Thinking of this, he suddenly realized that the flying crane sect did not seem to need to retreat. Although the battle was now covered by the formation and he did not know the exact situation. However, since Qin Shujian dared to stop the moon-devouring demon king, he basically showed that he was confident enough. Under such circumstances, the moon-devouring demon king was likely to be defeated. Thinking of this, Bai Hengzi immediately took out the communication jade token and sent back the message of temporarily stopping the retreat. Retreating was not just for show. If they really retreated, it would require a lot of manpower and resources. Therefore, it was best not to move if he could. After sending the message, Bai Hengzi did not leave. Instead, he stayed where he was and waited quietly for the battle to end. As for the other cultivators of the Chongning True Dominion, they now understood who the person who attacked was. After all, in the cultivation world, there was only one person who could condense 4 universal heavenly locks in 1,000 years. However, what they did not expect was that. Why did Qin Shujian come to the fallen moon mansion? Soon, some people thought of the formation that stopped the moon-devouring demon king in the beginning. They originally thought that the person who attacked was the Array Dao Grandmaster of the Heavenly Array sect. However, it seemed that the person who attacked was Sect Master Qin. Boom, boom. Time passed slowly. The battle did not stop for even a moment. The terrifying aftershocks continued to spread and directly caused the sun and moon to dim. The sky was covered by dark clouds and thunder lingered. This was a phenomenon that would only appear when someone used a power that was at its limit. Once it exceeded its limit, that would be the arrival of the heavenly wrath. However, both Qin Shujian and the moon-devouring demon king had only used their current maximum strength. They had not forcefully broken through the shackles of the true dominion. Or else, when the heavenly wrath descended, regardless of whether one was an expert with 4 universal heavenly locks or a heavenly human demon king, they would all turn into ashes. An unknown amount of time passed. Boom. There was a deafening sound. The array disk hidden in the void in 9 directions shattered. After the scattered array patterns bloomed, they disappeared before everyone's eyes. Soon after, a body that was 1,000 feet tall flew out horizontally and landed heavily on a mountain peak. In an instant, the mountain peak broke and the ground shook. Dust and smoke rose and filled one's vision. However, everyone could clearly see that the body that had flown out was the moon-devouring Demon King. He had been defeated. The moon-devouring Demon King had been defeated? For a moment, this thought appeared in the minds of many people. On the other side, the moon-devouring Demon King kept coughing out blood. His snow-white fur was stained with blood and dust. He looked battered and exhausted. He was facing Qin Shujian, who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks. As a Demon King who had been suppressed by the shackles, he could only suffer defeat. He looked at Qin Shujian, who was flying toward him. The moon-devouring Demon King did not dare hesitate. He immediately tried to escape. Up until now, he was well aware of Qin Shujian's strength. He was definitely no match for him. Unless he could meet him in the Spirit Protectorate or the Great Dominion, he might not have the chance to take revenge. However, the moon-devouring Demon King was only thinking about revenge now. To him, running for his life was the most important thing right now. Or else, there was a real possibility that he would be beaten to death. You come and go as you wish. Do you really think this is your home? Qin Shujian sneered. Although he was also in a sorry state, he was much better off than the moon-devouring Demon King. When he saw the other party escape, he took a step forward and his body disappeared from the spot. The Dao-entry-level movement technique gave him extraordinary speed. In addition, the moon-devouring Demon King was injured, so his speed was much weaker than when he was at his peak. As the battle progressed, Qin Shujian caught up with the moon-devouring Demon King in a few breaths. Boom! Another great, desolate demon suppression seal was launched. The moon-devouring Demon King roared angrily, but he had to turn around to defend. A huge amount of vital essence gathered in his mouth and turned into a long beam of light that collided with the illusory mountain range. But it was different this time. The vital essence beam did not shatter the mountain range. Instead, it was crushed by the mountain range and then landed heavily on the Demon King. Bang! The moon-devouring Demon King's body was smashed to the ground. The moment the ground shook, a deep pit was formed. Then, Qin Shujian descended from the sky. The vital essence in his body seemed to be endless. The 3 forms of the great, desolate demon suppression seal were executed by him. It had reached the point where it could suppress everything. Below, the moon-devouring Demon King roared angrily. But no matter how he fought back, it was difficult for him to compete with Qin Shujian. He wanted to escape, but he did not have the chance at all. As for everything around him, it had been completely wiped out by the aftermath of the battle between the man and the demon. Boom! The demon suppression seal landed. The moon-devouring Demon King was immediately suppressed. Then, Qin Shujian reached out to take the cosmic bow and the cloud-piercing arrow. In less than half a breath, a beam of cold light had already shot out. Roar! The long arrow sank in. The moon-devouring Demon King's huge head shook wildly. Painful roars of anger spread for thousands of miles. Hot blood dripped from the wound and quickly gathered into a small stream. The Demon King's body was strong, but it was impossible for him to block the attack of a Dao artifact. The cloud-piercing arrow was pitifully small compared to the moon-devouring Demon King's huge body. But the power of a Dao artifact, it had never been based on size. Now that the Dao artifact had entered his body, the moon-devouring Demon King was severely injured. In the next moment, with a wave of Qin Shujian's hand, another great formation enveloped him and the moon-devouring Beast Monarch. Chapter 380. The moon-devouring Demon King was severely injured. The rest was much simpler. The moon-devouring Demon King was no match for Qin Shujian to begin with, much less now. The moon-devouring Demon King roared in disbelief. The Wisdom King Hellfire ignited and completely devoured him. Top evil demons could refine it. Demon kings at the heaven realm could also be refined. Except for fiend celestials and demon saints above the 7th level of the heaven realm, Qin Shujian had not found anything that the wisdom king Hellfire could not refine. In the end, the moon-devouring demon king let out an indignant roar before he was completely refined by the wisdom king Hellfire. A purplish-red fire lotus. It floated quietly in the air. A purplish-red fire lotus. A strange look appeared in Qin Shujian's eyes. In the past, the fire lotuses of the evil demons and demons were red or dark red in color. This was the first time he had seen such a purplish-red fire lotus. Perhaps after refining the demon king, the level of the fire lotus has increased. He did not know what was going on, so he could only make a guess. Subsequently, with a wave of his hand, the purple-red fire lotus floated into his hand. Boom! A massive amount of pure energy instantly surged out of the purplish-red fire lotus. Immediately after, the spiritual deity of 490 feet broke through to 500 feet almost effortlessly. Moreover, the speed of improvement did not slow down at all. 510 feet, 550 feet, 530 feet, 590 feet, 600 feet, 610 feet. When the spiritual deity broke through to 670 feet, the pure energy was completely exhausted. As for the spiritual deity that had skyrocketed, it directly broke the compatibility with the body. For a moment, Qin Shujian even felt that the spiritual deity was about to break free from the shackles of the body at any time, and it was difficult to completely control. Without any hesitation, he immediately focused his attention on the source of life. Before devouring the purplish-red fire lotus, the source of life was more than 30 million points. Now, it had become more than 160 million points. In other words, after devouring the purplish-red fire lotus, it provided him with 130 million points of life. Seeing this, Qin Shujian did not care about being shocked. With a thought, 150 million life sources were consumed. The Guiyuan ancestral scripture had increased from the 8th level of the spiritual martial technique to the 10th level. In an instant. Moreover, some kind of secret chamber had been opened in his body. Therefore, the capacity of his body had become even greater. Moreover, his connection with the spirit god had also become closer. Therefore, the spirit god that was about to leave his body had become a lot more stable for the time being. As for the energy produced after the advancement of the cultivation technique, it was no longer of any use to the spiritual deity who was now 670 feet tall. The array was shattered. In the end, only Qin Shujian was left. The moon-devouring demon king was nowhere to be seen. Sect Master, Sovereign Qin. Upon seeing Qin Shujian's arrival, Zhang Ergu and Bai Hengzi greeted him politely. Yes. Qin Shujian nodded slightly, and then he looked at Bai Hengzi and smiled faintly. Is this Sect Master Bai of the Flying Crane Sect? Bai Hengzi greets Sect Leader Qin. You're not bad. Thank you for the compliment, Sect Leader Qin. It was a simple sentence, but it made Bai Hengzi happy. Not everyone's compliments could make him happy. However, Qin Shujian was different. Not everyone could be praised by the other party. Moreover, the simple sentence proved that the Flying Crane Sect had entered Sect Leader Qin's eyes. It could be considered that they had officially established a connection with Sky Origin Sect. This was more important than anything else. As for Zhang Ergu, looking at the commotion in the distance that had quietened down, he could not help but ask, Sect Leader, is that the great demon? The moon-devouring demon king has already been killed. Demon king. Bai Hengzi's expression changed, and he said in horror, Sect Leader Qin, are you saying that the giant wolf just now is a demon king? What was a demon king? Only those above the 4th level of the heaven-human realm and below the 7th level were demon kings. He had always thought that the moon-devouring demon king was just an ordinary great demon. He had never thought that it would be a demon king. Compared to the moon-devouring demon king who was above the 4th level of the heaven-human realm, there was something more important. That was, the moon-devouring demon king had died in the hands of Qin Shujian, a demon king expert. He had died in the hands of the sect leader of Sky Origin Sect. Bai Hengze could foresee what kind of uproar this news would cause if it were to spread. Zhang Ergu, who was at the side, was equally shocked. However, compared to Bai Hengze, it was easier for him to accept this in his heart. After all, the strength of his sect leader had long been etched in his heart. Especially in his memory, sect master Qin had never been defeated before. Such an invincible image. It had already been built in the depths of his heart. After the shock, Bai Hengze took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "Sect leader Qin came from afar and experienced a great battle. Why don't you come to my flying crane sect to rest for a while? Then I'll have to trouble sect leader Bai." "You're welcome." Bai Hengze smiled. When he returned to the sect, the disciples of the flying crane sect finally felt relieved. They wanted to evacuate. Later on, they said that they would not. However, the sect leader did not say anything until now. There were even rumors that the sect leader had gone to fight against the Heaven-Human Realm Demon King. Regarding this, it was impossible for the Flying Crane sect not to be worried at all. Now that they saw Bai Hengze return, they were truly relieved. An elder of the Flying Crane sect stepped forward and saw Qin Shujian and Zhang Ergo at the side. Then, he looked at his sect leader and asked, "Sect leader, how is the Heaven-Human Realm Demon King?" "The moon-devouring Demon King has been killed by sect leader Qin of the Origin sect. There's no need to worry about this anymore." While they were talking, Bai Hengze pointed at Qin Shujian beside him and said, "This is sect leader Qin of the Origin sect." Origin sect. Sect leader Qin. Several elders of the Flying Crane sect who heard Bai Hengze's words looked at Qin Shujian with a completely changed expression. In fact, they had already caught the words that Bai Hengze mentioned earlier. Demon King. Moon-devouring Demon King. At this moment, the news of a Heaven-Human Realm Demon King killing his way out of the Skyan Mountain range, destroying cities and sects along the way, and finally being killed by the sect leader of the Origin sect of the Baiyun Mansion, Qin Shujian, in the Chongning True Dominion had already spread like the wind. When this news spread, it instantly caused a huge commotion in the entire Fallen Moon Mansion. The death of a Heaven-Human Realm Demon King. The impact of this was no different from the death of a Heaven-Human Realm Major Cultivator. As for Qin Shujian's reputation, once again, the news spread like wildfire. Originally, he had been famous because of his strength as an Array Dao Grandmaster. To a certain extent, he was comparable to a Heaven-Human Realm Major Cultivator. Therefore, he had become famous in the cultivation world. However, it was different now. He had not relied on his Array Dao cultivation. He had relied on his own strength to kill a Heaven-Human Realm Demon King. Such a difference. Naturally, it was shocking. It was said that in the True Dominion, Heaven-Human Realm experts would be restricted by shackles. However, their strength was definitely not ordinary. In addition, even if a Heaven-Human Realm expert could not unleash his strength perfectly, he would still possess various magical techniques. A true martial realm cultivator would not be able to contend against him. However, now, the moon-devouring Demon King had been killed. This was the first time. The other cultivators finally understood how powerful a cultivator who had condensed 4 universal skylocks was in the True Dominion. Just as the news was spreading like wildfire, Lu Xian suddenly changed his mind. Another piece of news was spreading. That was, the moon-devouring Demon King was not a Heaven-Human Realm Demon King. He was a Demon King expert and the king of the moon-devouring Wolf Clan. After this piece of news spread, this caused the cultivation world, which was not peaceful to begin with, to tremble violently once again. If the death of a great demon was still acceptable then, the death of a demon king, they had not expected this at all. One could only be called a demon king if one was at the 4th stage Heaven-Human Realm or above. An expert like this, whether it was in the human clan or the demon clan, they were all well-known existences. Every increase or decrease of an expert above the 4th level of the celestial being realm could cause quite a stir. Now, Demon King had died at the hands of Qin Shujian. Instantly, the strength of condensing 4 universal skylocks had once again increased to an unimaginable level. In fact, some people guessed, perhaps in the True Dominion, a cultivator who had condensed 4 universal skylocks was already comparable to a mighty demon saint. The moon-devouring demon king. In a prefecture city, a handsome and resolute man muttered softly as he crushed the information in his hands. Below him, there were a few civil officials and military generals. One of them, who was dressed like a scholar, cupped his hands and said, "Marquis, now that the moon-devouring demon king has died in the fallen moon prefecture, the demon clan may not let this matter rest. We cannot sit and wait for death. Oh, in your opinion, what should I do? The fallen moon prefecture is currently at war with the great Zhao nation. If the demon clan attacks, we will inevitably be attacked from both sides. This will be disadvantageous to our army." As the scholar spoke, he thought for a moment, then cupped his hands and said, "In my opinion, we can think of a way to lure Qin Shujian into the spirit domain or the heavy rain. Then, we can capture him and send him to the demon clan in one fell swoop. This will appease the demon clan and resolve the crisis of the fallen moon prefecture." "You mean that I should apologize to the demon clan?" Marquis Luo Yu's expression was normal as he said indifferently. That scholar looked terrified and hurriedly explained, "I don't mean that. It's just that Qin Shujian happened to come to the fallen moon prefecture to kill the moon-devouring demon king. He might have been instructed by the great Zhao nation to deliberately bring trouble to us. You should know that Qin Shujian was ordered by the great Zhao nation to go to the Thousand Mountains prefecture to deal with Gu Chongqing. There must be an unknown connection between the Yuan sect and the great Zhao nation. If we don't do this, the demon clan and the imperial court will attack us from both sides. Things will not be good." The scholar's voice reverberated throughout the main hall. His words were very touching, making everyone understand that he was wholeheartedly thinking for the fallen moon manor. Hearing this, Marquis Luo Yu looked at the others and asked indifferently, "In your opinion, what should we do?" With that, the main hall was silent for a moment. Seeing this, Marquis Luo Yu did not ask any more questions. Instead, he stood up and walked slowly out of the main hall. The moon-devouring demon king entered the fallen moon prefecture for less than half a day and destroyed 3 cities. He devoured nearly 200,000 people and destroyed 37 sections. Nearly 100,000 cultivators died. Chapter 381. Do you know about this? Marquis Luo Yu turned around and asked the scholar. The scholar was speechless. Finally, he said reluctantly, "Marquis, those who achieve great things do not bother about trifles. It is normal to make some sacrifices. The reason why the human clan has been able to rule the world for thousands of years and drive the demon clan into the endless mountain range is that they have never yielded to the alien races." Marquis Luo Yu's eyes turned cold. If the demon clan can kill, so can the human clan. The more the demon clan kills, the more the human clan kills. Only by killing the demon race until they are scared will these beasts understand who is the real master of this world. Furthermore, Xiao Changfeng can enter the endless mountain range and kill a heavenly human demon to intimidate the demon clan. If the Luo Yu manor apologizes to the demon clan, we will become a laughing stock. Marquis Luo Yu laughed coldly. "Do you think I am inferior to Xiao Changfeng? I wouldn't dare." "Humph." Marquis Luo Yu snorted and looked at the others. He said in a low voice, "Pass down my orders. Yuanzong Qin Shujian has killed the moon-swallowing demon king. He will be rewarded with 50 kilograms of grade 9 ore and 5 spirit stones." "Marquis, this reward is too great. A demon king's life is worth more than this." Marquis Luo Yu shook his head. He knew that the great Zhao would definitely reward him. After all, killing a demon king was a great merit to the entire demon clan. He was only offering the Luo Yu manor a share. As for Big Head, he was still with the great Zhao. However, to Marquis Luo Yu, the reward given by the Luo Yu manor was not low. He admired Qin Shujian quite a bit. He could ignore the power behind the demon clan and kill a demon king in public without saying anything. He had such courage. It wasn't something that just anyone could have. Unfortunately, Yuanzong is too close to Xiao Changfeng. It is not easy to rope him in. Otherwise, the strength of the Luo Yu manor would increase. Marquis Luo Yu shook his head regretfully. If he had another Array Dao Grandmaster, he would have another True Dominion Invincible Expert. This would be a good thing for him. After all other than the Great Domain and the Spirit Domain, the True Domain and the Ordinary Domain were just below them. Many times, the battle between experts might not necessarily take place in the large spirit realm. The gains and losses of the lower regions were also important. In the Heavenly Demon Temple, Venerable Moon Devourer has fallen. Zhe Sheng opened his eyes, his calm voice echoing in the hall. Moon-devouring Venerable has already advanced to Demon King. He should be called Moon-devouring Demon King. Whether it's the Moon-devouring Venerable or the Moon-devouring Demon King, it's all in the past. However, I never expected that the Moon-devouring Demon King would die in the Fallen Moon Mansion without the help of Marquis Moonfall and Great Zhao. Sage Eagle said in an indifferent tone. The death of a Demon King did not cause much of a stir in his heart. In the eyes of the monster saint, although there was only a fine line separating the Demon Monarch realm from the Demon Monarch realm, but in reality, the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Without reaching the 7th level of the Celestial Being realm, one would never be able to comprehend the profundities of the Demon Sage realm. Furthermore, the Moon-devouring Demon King had just entered the Demon King realm and had not even touched the peak of the Demon King realm. At this point, Sage Eagle changed the topic and his gaze landed on the middle-aged man in green robes. He smiled faintly and said, Ape Sage, the sky-piercing ape clan is known to be invincible among those of the same cultivation level. I wonder if you could kill Qin Shujian if you encountered him in the True Dominion? He has condensed 4 universal skylocks and is comparable to a demon saint almighty in the True Dominion. If I were to attack, I would definitely be able to kill him. The green-robed ape sage smiled slightly in response to Sage Eagle's words. He was not angry at all. To be able to become a demon saint, which one of them had not experienced thousands of years of cultivation? His state of mind and whatnot had already been polished until it was very smooth. Unless it was something very important, it would be very difficult to cause their state of mind to fluctuate. Sage Zhe said, the Baiyun Mansion is now a tough nut to crack. The Baiyun Marquis is an almighty and he has Qin Shujian, who is considered an almighty in the True Dominion. His strength is extraordinary. If the Demon Clan were to attack him, the risk would be too great if we were not completely confident. Now that Shi Yingtian has just died, the Demon Clans below could not help but attack. They deserve to die. One of them sneered and said, they acted without the Heavenly Demon Temple's orders and wanted to snatch resources. Now that 1 or 2 great demon kings have died, they will know. There are some things that you can just look at. You can't just touch everything. Even though the other demon clans were scouting the way, the Heavenly Demon Temple had tacitly allowed it. However, in the end, without a real order, they were acting without permission. Previously, the 5 Elemental Beast Clan and now, the Moon-devouring Wolf Clan had fallen one after another. They were happy to see this happen. After all, there were too many powerful existences in the Demon Clan. Some clans thought that they could contend with the Heavenly Demon Temple just because they had 2 more great demons or 1 or 2 demon kings. In addition, over the years, the 12 demon saints had been guarding the Heavenly Demon Temple. To be honest, the Heavenly Demon Temple would not have been able to maintain its original supreme position if the 12 demon saints had not been supported by the clans. Ape Sage turned his head and smiled faintly. What do you think, Zhe Sage? Now that the Great Zhao dynasty is divided, all the feudal lords want to fight for the throne. However, with the demon clan's intervention, all the parties are much more cautious when fighting. They all have strength left to guard against us. Zhe Sage was silent for a moment before speaking slowly. I suggest that we use the Heavenly Demon Temple's order to withdraw all the demon clans and leave enough space for the humans to fight among themselves. When their strength is almost exhausted, we will take action. Hearing this, Eagle Sage nodded slightly and said, what if the demon clans don't respect the order? Kill. Zhe Sage's eyes turned cold, and killing intent immediately filled the hall. Anyone who doesn't respect the order will be killed without mercy. Seconded. Seconded. With that, the other demon saints nodded in agreement. For them, now, it was a good time to show the strength of the Heavenly Demon Temple and let the other demon clans understand that the Heavenly Demon Temple was still the leader among the demon clans. Anyone who did not respect the heavenly demon temple's order, only death awaited them. Originally, when the human emperor was still around, the demon clans mainly lay low. That was why the heavenly demon temple did not do anything. This also caused their power to weaken day by day. Now that the demon clans were about to appear, the heavenly demon temple's power had to be re-established. Otherwise, there would be no benefit in ruling the demon clans in the future. Soon, an order was issued from the heavenly demon temple, ordering all the demon clans not to take half a step into the human territory without the order of the heavenly demon temple. In addition, they were not to command the demon clans to attack the humans. In addition to that, any demon clans in the human territory had to withdraw. The moment this news came out, it immediately caused a huge commotion. Bang! In a canyon, a middle-aged man with a fierce expression slammed his palm heavily on a huge rock beside him. The terrifying power instantly turned the boulder into dust. In fact, the entire canyon trembled slightly. In an instant, thousands of demon clans in the canyon prostrated themselves, seemingly trembling in fear because of the anger of this king. The heavenly demon temple didn't send the order earlier or later, but at this time, they are clearly going against the Skywing Tiger people. The middle-aged man, who was also the Skywing Demon King, had a furious look in his green eyes. Upon hearing that, a Skywing Tiger people elder beside him said, "Clan leader, we are about to take over the true dominion and enjoy the blood of millions. If we retreat now, we will lose many of our clansmen for nothing." In order to take over the true dominion and plunder the blood of millions, the Skywing Tiger people had also mobilized many experts. Just a few god martial realm cultivators had died. As for the clansmen below the divine martial realm, there were countless. Devouring the blood of the humans could help the demon clans increase their strength. If they could take over the entire true dominion, the strength of the entire Skywing Tiger people would definitely increase greatly. When that time came, the losses before them would no longer be losses. However, if they retreated just like that, these losses would be irreparable. Upon hearing that, the Skywing Demon King's furious expression gradually calmed down as he said in a cold voice, "The heavenly demon temple has not done anything for thousands of years. Now, you want me to obey a mere order? Aren't you being too presumptuous?" Upon saying that, the Skywing Demon King said, "Pass down my orders. Attack the true dominion with all your might. As for the heavenly demon temple's order, ignore it." The heavenly demon temple had not appeared for thousands of years. Although the demon clans knew about the existence of the heavenly demon temple, not many clans still obeyed the heavenly demon temple's orders. The Skywing Demon King believed that it was not just the heavenly winged tiger clan. Even the other monstrous clans would not stop because of a mere command. As for the heavenly demon temple's condemnation, the Skywing Demon King was not worried at all. After all, the Skywing Tiger people were not to be trifled with. They had 2 demon kings holding down the fort and 4 heavenly human demon clans. Such strength was already close to the top. Furthermore, the Skywing Demon King was a peak Demon King expert. As long as he broke through that threshold, he would become a demon saint-level expert. When that time came, the Skywing Tiger people would officially become one of the top clans of the demon clans. Such strength. It was enough for the Skywing Tiger people to ignore many things. No matter how strong the heavenly demon temple was, would they really dare to fight the Skywing Tiger people until both sides suffered? As for the number of demon saints in the heavenly demon temple that were still alive, it was not certain. They had not appeared for so many years. They might have already passed away. Furthermore, in the Skywing Demon King's opinion, even if the demon saints came personally, they would still have the ability to resist. Upon hearing that, the Skywing Tiger people elder below immediately accepted the order and retreated. However, just as he left the canyon, a terrifying attack landed and instantly killed him. It was a sudden turn of events. Before the Skywing Demon King could get angry, boom, boom, waves of powerful auras that seemed to be able to crush the sky covered the entire territory of the Skywing Tiger people. Soon after, towering figures stepped across the sky from afar. When they stood in the sky, they immediately plunged the territory of the Skywing Tiger people into darkness. Just as the other Skywing Tiger people were panicking, a thunderous voice resounded in the sky. The Skywing Tiger people do not respect the Heavenly Demon Temple's order. They should be killed. Chapter 382. On the same day that the moon-devouring demon king died, blood flowed like a river within the demon race. All the demons who disobeyed the orders of the Heavenly Demon Temple were uprooted. Be it the top demon kings or the heavenly human demons, none of them could escape. On this day, all the demons in the endless mountain range were trembling. Some of the demons who had survived since the era of the Demon Emperor were once again reminded of the fear of being dominated by the Heavenly Demon Temple. When the Demon Emperor was alive, he had once established the Heavenly Demon Temple and conferred the 12 demon sages to suppress the entire demon race. Those who were qualified to be the 12 demon sages were all top experts of the demon race. They also had powerful clans behind them. As the 12 demon sages became famous, the clans behind the demon sages were also crowned with the heavenly, and called themselves heavenly demons. The 12 heavenly demons. That was the top clan of the entire demon race. However, when the Demon Emperor was seriously injured and disappeared, the Heavenly Demon Temple also fell silent. For 6,000 years, the 12 demon sages had never walked out of the Heavenly Demon Temple. Many demons thought that the 12 demon sages had passed away and that the so-called Heavenly Demon Temple was already an empty shell. However, the Heavenly Demon Temple still had the Demon Emperor's methods left behind and was guarded by the 12 heavenly demons. No demon expert dared to barge in and explore the depths of the Heavenly Demon Temple. After all, even without the 12 demon sages, the strength of the 12 heavenly demons was considered top among the demon race. There were almost no clans that could contend with them one-on-one. However, although the 12 heavenly demons maintained a semi-transcendent status, the deterrence of the Heavenly Demon Temple had weakened bit by bit over the past few thousand years. In fact, many newborn Fae might not have heard of the Heavenly Fae Temple. It was precisely because of this. In the hearts of the other demons, the Heavenly Demon Temple existed in name only. Therefore, when the Heavenly Demon Temple issued an order, not many demons really obeyed it. Only some demons who still remembered the might of the Heavenly Demon Temple were afraid and temporarily obeyed the order. However, there were also demons who turned a blind eye and continued to do as they pleased. However, more demons maintained a wait-and-see attitude, wanting to see what the Heavenly Demon Temple would do next. However, to the surprise of the spectating demons, the Heavenly Demon Temple was actually so decisive. In less than a day, those demons who had disobeyed the order had been wiped out, and among them were powerful races like the Skywing Tiger people. In the eyes of many demons, such a race was actually comparable to the 12 Heavens demon race. However, this time, reality dealt a heavy blow to the other demon clans. This also made them understand one thing. The Heavenly Demon Tribe was called the Heavenly Demon Tribe. Aside from the fact that they had a beast saint backing them up, the other reason was that their strength had reached the pinnacle, far surpassing that of the other clans. This time, there were more than 30 demon clans that had been annihilated by the 12 Heavens Demon Clan. Among them, there were no less than 5 demon kings. It could be said that all the demons in the endless mountain range trembled in fear and their blood flowed like a river. But at the same time, the might of the Heavenly Demon Temple, after thousands of years of silence, once again suppressed all the demon clans. He wanted all the demons to understand. The Heavenly Demon Temple was still the supreme Heavenly Demon Temple of the past. Any demon, they had to obey the orders of the Heavenly Demon Temple. Anyone who disobeyed the orders would die. At the same time, Chongning True Dominion. After killing the moon-devouring demon king, Qin Shujian did not leave immediately. Instead, he headed to the Flying Crane sect to rest. Sect Master Qin's arrival. The Flying Crane sect members also felt an inexplicable honor. A true Dominion sect. Being able to get the sect master of a top-notch sect to come personally was something to be happy about, especially after the news of Qin Shujian killing a demon king spread. the Flying Crane sect disciples respected him even more. In their opinion, even a heavenly human demon was an unreachable existence, let alone a demon king. In fact, many people could not understand the difference between a great fae and a fae king. In the courtyard, the people who had been playing chess had been replaced by Bai Hengzi and Qin Shujian. As for Zhang Ergo, he could only stand aside and watch from the sidelines. As for the chess Dao, Qin Shujian had dabbled in it in his previous life. However, he had not gone deep into it. However, he was still much better than Zhang Ergo, who knew nothing. However, what surprised him was, the chess Dao of this world was slightly different from that of his previous life. However, there were some similarities. Therefore, after Bai Hengzi's simple explanation, Qin Shujian quickly got the hang of it. The two of them chatted as they played chess. Sect Master Qin, the sect masters of various sects have come in hopes of meeting you. How should we deal with this matter? Bai Hengzi asked seriously after placing a chess piece down. News of Qin Shujian and the Flying Crane sect had spread. The Chongning True Dominion, as well as the other sects of the True Dominion and the Spirit Dominion, had all sent their experts over to meet Sect Master Qin. Even the sect leaders of some of the sects had come in person. If only an array Dao Grandmaster had appeared, it would have caused quite a commotion. However, it would not have resulted in a situation similar to that of thousands of sections. However, after the news of Qin Shujian killing the Demon King had spread, not only the Chongning True Dominion, but the entire Fallen Moon Mansion had been shaken. As a result, all the sects had hoped to show their faces in front of him. If they could take this opportunity to get in touch with him, that would be even better. As for the Flying Crane sect, it had gradually become the #1 sect in the Fallen Moon Mansion's True Dominion. This was a very normal thing. Qin Shujian had stayed in the Flying Crane sect. Although the other sects had only come to meet Qin Shujian, they had still come to the Flying Crane sect's territory. Then, the Flying Crane sect's reputation had spread. Regarding this, the elders of the Flying Crane sect had been grinning from ear to ear these few days. Even Bai Hengzi, he had been in a good mood these few days. The more the Flying Crane sect's reputation spread, the more benefits there would be. As for whether it would arouse the jealousy of others, he was not worried about this at all. The Flying Crane sect was not weak. It was considered one of the top sects in the Chongning True Dominion. Although it was not in the top 10 sects in the Fallen Moon Mansion's True Dominion, it was not a weak sect either. Furthermore, now that the sect had gotten in touch with the Sky Origin sect, anyone who wanted to attack the Flying Crane sect would have to consider carefully whether they would anger the Sky Origin sect. If they angered the Sky Origin sect, they would have to consider whether they could withstand the wrath of the Sky Origin sect. In the Spirit Dominion, Sect Master Qin was equivalent to a walking heavenly man major cultivator. In the True Dominion, Sect Master Qin was equivalent to an invincible existence. Perhaps the legendary demon sage and almighty could contend with him, but no one else would be a match for him. With such a backer, Bai Hengzi now felt that the Flying Crane sect would be as stable as a mountain as long as they did not deliberately seek death. Upon seeing the other party place a piece, Qin Shujian thought for a while and placed a piece as well. How many sects have come? Up until now, there have been 173 sects, and there are still more sects sending people over. 173 sections. Qin Shujian's hand paused for a moment. He looked at Bai Hengzi with some surprise in his eyes. This number, it was a little too much. When he had been in the Sky Origin sect, he had not seen so many sects coming to visit the North Cloud Mansion. He had not expected that in the Fallen Moon Mansion, it would cause such a huge impact. Upon hearing this, Bai Hengzi smiled and said, "The news of Sect Master Qin killing the Demon King with his own strength has spread throughout the entire Fallen Moon Mansion. I believe your reputation has been deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. In some people's opinion, it is an honor to be able to meet you. The Sky Origin sect is not a sect of the Fallen Moon Mansion after all. I'm afraid such a commotion would cause some people to be displeased." Qin Shujian shook his head slightly. This was not the territory of the Sky Origin sect or the North Cloud Mansion. There were also top-notch sects in the Fallen Moon Mansion and those sects of the major regions. In the eyes of these sects, the Sky Origin sect could only be considered an external power. In such a situation, With such a huge impact, it was inevitable that the local sects would be displeased. Bai Hengze also understood what Qin Shujian meant. Hence, when Qin Shujian mentioned this matter, his expression was a little strange. Sect Master Qin, you don't have to think too much. If you really don't want to meet them, I will send someone to reject them. Sorry to trouble you, Sect Master Bai. You're welcome. Bai Hengze smiled again. Then, the two of them chatted while playing chess. After a long time, the first round of chess was over, and it was time for another round of chess to start. While they were chatting, Qin Shujian suddenly paused and said, I wonder if the Flying Crane sect has any forging materials above the 6th level. Forging materials above the 6th level? Bai Hengze was stunned for a moment. Then, he nodded and said, there are some 7th level forging materials in the Flying Crane sect's warehouse. I will send someone to send them to Sect Master Qin later. He did not ask why Bai Hengze wanted the forging materials. Although the 7th level forging materials were precious, there were no powerful forging masters in the Flying Crane sect. The 7th level forging materials were only used for gathering dust and were sold off. Therefore, in Bai Hengze's opinion, it was better to give them to Qin Shujian directly. Perhaps, the Flying Crane sect's position in Qin Shujian's heart would be higher. He did as he said. Before the game ended, a Flying Crane sect elder came forward and handed a storage ring to Qin Shujian. He said, Sect Master Qin, the 7th level forging materials you need are inside. All right. Qin Shujian casually took the storage ring and a slight smile appeared on his face. A storage ring. A storage ring was nothing to the Essence sect. However, a storage ring was a rare treasure to a true Dominion sect. He put away the storage ring properly. Then, he stood up immediately and told Bai Hengze, I would like to borrow some of your sect's places to enter seclusion for a period of time. Would it be convenient for you, Sect Master Bai? It is the Flying Crane sect's honor that Sect Master Qin has taken a fancy to our sect's places. How could it not be convenient? A smile appeared on Bai Hengze's face as he quickly arranged the matter. Chapter 383. With Bai Hengze's arrangement, Qin Shujian immediately went into seclusion. At this moment, the envoy sent by Marquis Luoyue also came to Flying Crane sect. In the main hall, Bai Hengze personally received this emissary sent by Marquis Moonfall. After the emissary sat down, Bai Hengze cupped his hands and asked, May I know your name? Why have you come to my Flying Crane sect today? My name is Pang Jing. I'm here on Marquis Luoyue's order to meet Sect Master Qin of Yuan sect. Pang Jing, who was dressed like a middle-aged scholar, cupped his hands and replied politely. Hearing that, Bai Hengze understood in his heart. When the envoy came, he already had some guesses in his heart. Until Pang Jing really spoke. Only then did he confirm it. Unfortunately, Sect Master Qin just went into seclusion to cultivate. I'm not sure when he will come out. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. I see. Pang Jing raised his eyebrows slightly, then smiled and said, Then I'll wait here for a while. After all, it's Marquis Luoyue's task. If I go back without completing it, I won't be able to explain it. I understand, Bai Hengze said with a faint smile. However, he was a little dignified in his heart. It was different now. Marquis Luoyue fell out with the imperial court. To put it bluntly, he was openly rebelling. To this, Bai Hengze didn't want to have anything to do with the imperial court or Marquis Luoyue at this time, because the situation wasn't clear yet. Once one side was defeated, the other side would be cleansed. It didn't matter if you were on the losing side or not. As long as you were involved, you wouldn't have the chance to stay out of trouble. With Flying Crane sect's strength, if they were to recklessly get involved, it would only take a wave to devour them directly without leaving any residue. Because of this, therefore, Bai Hengze didn't want to have too much entanglement with Marquis Luoyue. He also didn't want Pang Jing to stay in Flying Crane sect to prevent others from gossiping or causing the imperial court to be unhappy. However, no matter how unwilling he was, he couldn't say it out loud. Once he said it out loud, he would definitely offend Pang Jing and indirectly offend Marquis Luoyue. Flying Crane sect couldn't afford to offend the imperial court, nor could they offend Marquis Luoyue. Under such circumstances, Bai Hengze had no choice but to tacitly agree with him. Boom! A sudden clap of thunder interrupted the conversation between the two of them. Both Bai Hengze and Pang Jing's expressions changed. They left the hall without hesitation and went to the outside world. At this moment, the sky was covered by dark clouds, and lightning was faintly moving back and forth. Occasionally, there would be a bolt of lightning striking down. The terrifying might of the heavens pervaded the entire flying crane sect. This is lightning tribulation. Pang Jing's pupils contracted slightly. He was also very wary of the lightning tribulation. As for Bai Hengze now, his mind was also shaken. Every bolt of lightning that fell gave off a terrifying aura. It had already surpassed the limits of what a peak true martial realm could endure. After the shock, Bai Hengze seemed to have thought of something as he exclaimed, "Sect Master Qin's means are really amazing to be able to trigger the thunder tribulation so quickly. I'm afraid the spiritual weapon that you're refining this time isn't an ordinary one." Sect Master Bai, do you mean to say that the lightning tribulation was attracted by Sect Master Qin? Upon hearing Bai Hengze's words, Pang Jing couldn't help but turn his head and ask. Although he was a prominent divine stage great cultivator, he was still a prominent divine stage great cultivator. However, in the true dominion, he was not much stronger than Bai Hengze. The power of the lightning tribulation surpassed the peak true martial realm. Bai Hengze couldn't withstand it, and he was also trembling with fear. Just now, I told you that Sect Master Qin went into seclusion. However, I didn't expect that Sect Master Qin did not go into seclusion to cultivate, but to refine a spiritual weapon. Blacksmith Grandmaster. Pang Jing spat out these words with difficulty, his expression extremely solemn. He was a Tudao Grandmaster. This was not a small title at all. In particular, when news of Qin Shujian refining a Dao weapon had spread in the Liang Mountain Spirit Protectorate, it had confirmed that he was a blacksmith grandmaster. Dao weapons couldn't be forged. This was something that all blacksmiths below the grandmaster level acknowledged. Only a blacksmith grandmaster could break this law. Only a blacksmith grandmaster could do it. Now that refining a spirit weapon had attracted the lightning tribulation, even though the commotion was shocking, Pang Jing felt relieved when he thought of the other party's identity. If it was Qin Shujian, it wasn't anything strange. As for the other disciples of the Flying Crane sect, they were currently under the cover of the thunderclouds. In the face of such heavenly might, an uncontrollable fear rose in their hearts. This was normal. They were in awe of the power of the heavenly Tao, just like some people who were born with a fear of thunder. Unless one's strength reached a certain level and was able to change the world, it would be difficult to get rid of this fear. Boom, boom. Every hour or so, there would be a bolt of lightning striking down. The thunderclouds only covered the sky above the mountain gate of the Flying Crane sect, but the power that spread out was enough to cover the surrounding area. Especially now, the experts of the various sects gathered in the Chongning True Dominion, which could cause an even greater commotion. Although the Flying Crane sect conveyed Qin Shujian's message and indirectly rejected all the sects, these sects did not leave completely. Some of them still stayed temporarily. When the thunderclouds appeared, many people secretly guessed that it was related to Qin Shujian. 3 days later, a bolt of lightning tribulation struck from time to time. The thunderclouds only completely dissipated when the last bolt of lightning tribulation struck. In the courtyard, Qin Shujian had already come out of seclusion. Bai Hengze also received the news immediately and came to meet him. Before Qin Shujian could speak, Bai Hengze said first, "Sect Master Qin, Marquis Luoyue sent a messenger here 3 days ago, hoping to meet you." I wonder, the messenger of Marquis Luoyue? Qin Shujian was slightly confused, but he soon figured out the general reason and said, "Where is he now?" The messenger heard that Sect Master Qin was in seclusion, so he stayed in the Flying Crane sect and never left. "I'll go and meet him." Qin Shujian nodded and said, "The reason why Marquis Luoyue sent someone here should have something to do with the moon-devouring Demon King. Since he sent someone here and waited for a few days, it should not be a bad thing. Besides, Marquis Luoyue was powerful. Since he sent someone here out of politeness, there was no need for him to embarrass him. This was completely different from rejecting the other sections. After getting Qin Shujian's permission, in the main hall of the Flying Crane sect, Bai Hengzi, the sect master, was also sitting on the main seat. In terms of status, he was inferior to Qin Shujian and Pang Jing. However, in the Flying Crane sect, he was the one with the highest status. As for Qin Shujian and Pang Jing, they did not intend to steal the limelight. Therefore, the two of them sat on the left and right. After sitting down, Pang Jing immediately cupped his hands and said politely, "I'm here on the orders of the Marquis. Coincidentally, Sect Master Qin was in seclusion, so I couldn't meet you. Today, I've fulfilled a wish of mine." "You're too polite," Qin Shujian said with a faint smile. "May I know why Marquis Luoyue sent you here?" Sect Master Qin killed the moon-devouring Demon King and strengthened the power of the human race. The Marquis was very happy when he heard about this, so he sent me here to bring some rewards and things to Sect Master Qin. Pang Jing originally wanted to say rewards. However, after thinking about it, this word was inevitably a little disrespectful. No matter what, the other party was an expert who killed the Demon King. It was okay for Marquis Luoyue to say these words, but it was inevitably a little disrespectful when it came from his mouth. Hearing that, Qin Shujian thought to himself, as expected. This wasn't too different from what he had originally guessed. Pang Jing was indeed here because of the moon-devouring Demon King. However, to Qin Shujian's surprise, Marquis Luoyue had something to give him. At this moment, after Pang Jing finished speaking, he took out a storage ring and said, "There are 50 kilograms of 9th-level casting materials and 5 spirit stones inside. Please accept it, Sect Master Qin." While speaking, his true essence had already carried the storage ring and sent it to Qin Shujian. As for Bai Hengzi, who was at the side, at this moment, he was shocked. 50 kilograms of 9th-level casting materials and 5 spirit stones. These two things, even if the Flying Crane sect emptied all their assets, they would not be able to take out any of them, especially spirit stones. For the Flying Crane sect, there was only one. This was a few hundred years ago. The previous sect master of the Flying Crane sect had obtained a spirit stone from somewhere and buried it in the Flying Crane sect. Until now, the spirit chi of the Flying Crane sect had been increasing day by day. Now, it had the foundation that a true Dominion sect should have. And this was just the effect of one spirit stone. Since then, the Flying Crane sect had not had the opportunity to obtain another spirit stone for a few hundred years. Marquis Luoyue had taken out 5 spirit stones at once. How could Bai Hengzi not be shocked? However, he was just shocked and did not have any other thoughts. He reached out and took the storage ring. Qin Shujian was also a little shocked. However, he was not the original Cold Mountain Fort master. Although 5 spirit stones and 50 kilograms of 9th-level materials were generous, he would not lose his composure on the spot. He put away the storage ring skillfully. With a smile on his face, he cupped his hands and said, "I am ashamed to accept Marquis' kindness. The Demon Clan has wreaked havoc in the Human Clan's territory. As a member of the Human Clan, I naturally have no reason to stand by and do nothing. Killing the moon-devouring Demon King is just part of my duty. I admire Sect Master Qin's righteousness." Upon seeing Qin Shujian put away the storage ring, the corners of Pang Jing's mouth twitched slightly before he replied with a smile. The following atmosphere would be much more relaxed. Pang Jing's mission this time was mainly to hand over the items to Qin Shujian and express Marquis Luoyue's goodwill. He did not want to rope him into the Luoyue mansion, but he wanted to make him have a good impression of the Luoyue mansion. As for Qin Shujian's words, the other party had kindly delivered the items that he needed. This way, he had no reason to be rude to others. Therefore, he also gave Pang Jing a smile. After talking for a while, Pang Jing stood up, cupped his hands, and said, "This matter is over. I still have to return to report, so I can't stay for long. If Sect Master Qin has time in the future, you can make a trip to Bright Plain City. The Marquis would also like to meet Sect Master Qin." Okay. Chapter 384. After Pang Jing left in the hall, Qin Shujian returned the storage ring that the Flying Crane sect had given him to Bai Hengzi and said, "Inside it is a set of discs that I've refined over the past few days. If you place it in the sect, it will be able to gather the chi of the heavens and earth. If a strong enemy invades, they can also be used as a defense, unless the enemy is at the peak of the divine martial realm. Otherwise, it is impossible to break through. A power at the peak of the divine martial realm. It was almost non-existent in the true dominion. This was also true. If the Flying Crane sect had this set of array discs, they would basically be invincible. How can the Flying Crane sect accept such a great gift? Bai Hengzi looked a little excited, but he still rejected it slightly. Since the Flying Crane sect helped the Origin sect, they should accept this gift. Sect Master Bai, please accept it. Qin Shujian said with a faint smile. He had given such a gift. He had thought it through carefully. He believed that after this incident, it would be easier for the Origin sect to move around in other prefectures. If they encountered any trouble, the Origin sect would also receive more help. After all, the Origin sect was generous and had amazing strength. Who wouldn't want to have some relationship with them? It was not an exaggeration to say that the gift that Qin Shujian had given this time was enough to ensure that the Flying Crane sect's legacy would not be destroyed. On the other side, Bai Hengzi was so excited that he couldn't control himself. As for Qin Shujian's words, he didn't doubt it at all. That was because there was no need for him to deceive him. Then, Qin Shujian said, as for the method to control the array discs, it is also recorded in the storage ring. Sect Master Bai, you can study it yourself. Also, I may need to borrow the original place and enter seclusion for a while. Sect Master Qin, please do as you please. The Flying Crane sect will not disturb you. Thank you. After Qin Shujian left, Bai Hengzi dripped blood on the storage ring again. When his intent landed on it, he saw that there were 12 square array discs and a jade stone in the small space. Following his intent, the 12 square array discs had already appeared in the hall. Instantly, a powerful aura was emitted from his body. Bai Hengzi's heart skipped a beat, and he was overjoyed. Even his fingers were trembling. Low-grade spiritual weapon. No, this is a middle-grade spiritual weapon. Every array disc is a middle-grade spiritual weapon. When he held the array disc, he finally confirmed the quality of the array disc in front of him. His heart trembled with excitement. Middle-grade spirit weapon. The entire Flying Crane sect only had one middle-grade spirit artifact. Although the sect's spiritual artifact wasn't something that ordinary spiritual artifacts could compare to, it still showed how precious spiritual artifacts were. Now that every square array disc was equivalent to a mid-grade spirit artifact, the 12 square array discs were equivalent to 12 mid-grade spirit artifacts. Even Bai Hengzi found it difficult to withstand the impact. However, after the joy, he gradually calmed down. It was true that the 12 square array discs were all mid-grade spirit artifacts. But to be serious, also, a single disc array was not very useful. Such a middle-grade spiritual weapon could neither attack nor defend against everything. It could not even be considered as an auxiliary spiritual weapon. Other than having the hardness of a middle-grade spiritual weapon, it had no other advantages. So, there seemed to be 12 middle-grade spiritual weapons in front of him, but once they were separated, they would be useless unless they were used as stones to smash people. Only when they were combined could the true power of the array disc be exerted. After that, Bai Hengzi took out the jade stone from the storage ring and pressed it between his eyebrows. A stream of information gushed out from it. After a long time, he put down the jade stone in his hand. The originally round jade stone had lost its original luster. The combination of the 12 square array discs is comparable to a top upper-grade spirit artifact. When the array is set up, it can gather the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. When the array is activated, it can also protect the sect. Only experts above the peak of the god martial arts realm can break it. As long as the spiritual chi of heaven and earth exists, the array will not disappear. After digesting all the information, Bai Hengzi took a deep breath again. Although Qin Shujian had mentioned these things just now, however, he couldn't help but be shocked again when he learned about it. However, after the shock, Bai Hengzi showed a carefree smile on his face. This time, he had made the right bet. Ever since he rescued Zhang Ergu, Bai Hengzi had decided to find a way to get close to Sky Origin sect, even if an elder had to die because of this. However, compared to the gains in front of him, Even if all the elders died, it would be worth it, let alone an elder. Only this set of array discs was left. The Flying Crane sect could preserve its legacy in the Chongning True Dominion. No matter how powerful one was, it was almost impossible to break the array. As a result, as long as the Flying Crane sect was given enough time, there would be plenty of opportunities to cultivate a large number of experts. Even if this time, it might take a few decades or even 100 years. However, in Bai Hengze's opinion, these things were not a problem. A few decades or 100 years were nothing. Even if a few hundred or 1,000 years passed, as long as the Flying Crane sect was preserved, there would be a day when it would shine. After collecting his thoughts, Bai Hengze followed the instructions left in the Jade Stone and put the array disc into the storage ring. Then, he left the hall and went to various places in the sect to place the array discs. As for this matter, he did not tell anyone. The place where the array discs were placed was very secretive. At the same time, he left behind a certain sensing method to prevent anyone from accidentally touching the array discs and being detected by him immediately. This matter concerned the future of the Flying Crane sect. Bai Hengze would not allow any mistakes. Half a day later, everyone in the Flying Crane sect suddenly felt that the surrounding heaven-earth spirit chi was increasing at a rapid speed. In less than an hour's time, it had already increased to twice the original concentration. This was a sudden change. Naturally, this shocked many people. As for the elders of the Flying Crane sect, they found Bai Hengze and reported the abnormal situation. When they found it, the density of the spirit chi in the Flying Crane sect increased by another 20%. In an instant, the Flying Crane sect had become a true dominion cultivation sacred land. From the outside world, a large amount of heaven-earth spirit chi was coming from all directions and was constantly swarming towards the Flying Crane sect. However, all the cultivators who sensed this situation were shocked. They were also surprised, as if they didn't understand what was going on. Sect Master, the spirit chi in the sect is increasing abnormally. We have investigated everywhere, but have not found the reason. Don't panic. This is the method that Sect Master Qin gave to the Flying Crane sect. From today onwards, the Flying Crane sect will officially become the true dominion cultivation sacred land of Chongning. Soon, enough experts will be born. Bai Hengze was as steady as a mountain as he spoke calmly with a smile on his face. In his heart, he was also very excited. Although he knew that the array formation had the effect of gathering heaven-earth spirit chi, he had not expected the effect to be so powerful. This effect was several times better than burying a spirit stone. After all, the spirit stone continuously and slowly increased the heaven-earth spirit chi. As for the array formation before him, it was more like a barbaric method that directly plundered the surrounding heaven-earth spirit chi. Comparing the two, it was hard to say which was stronger. However, in terms of effect, the array formation was faster. However, in Bai Hengze's heart, he still thought that the array discs before him were more useful than the spirit stones left behind by the previous sect master. As long as the heaven-earth spirit chi was not extinguished, the array formation would continue to exist. Under such circumstances, it was no different from the spirit stones. On the contrary, the gathering effect was faster than that of the spirit stones. Even if I pass away in the future, as long as this set of array discs is left behind, the younger generation of the sect should remember me as their sect master. Bai Hengze thought to himself as the smile on his face widened. Soon, he had another thought. No, the heaven-earth spirit chi is so rich now. I might have a chance to break through to the spirit martial realm. I can polish my foundation now and break through to the spirit protectorate in the future. In order to break through to the spirit martial realm, he had to go to the spirit protectorate. As for breaking through the shackles of the true dominion, Bai Hengze had never appeared before. It was important to know one's own limits. Qin Shujian was the only person who had broken through the shackles of the true dominion in the past 1,000 years. As for the others, none of them had succeeded. Although Bai Hengze did not think that he was mediocre, he did not think that he was a demon genius either. Even an ordinary demon genius could not break through the shackles of the true dominion. Among the billions of people in the Great Zhao Nation, There were many so-called demon geniuses born every year. However, in the past 1,000 years, he had never seen anyone achieve such a feat in his opinion. The reason Qin Shujian could break through the shackles of the True Dominion was not only because of his talent and strength, but also because of his identity as the reincarnation of an almighty. After all, this involved an almighty. It was normal for it to be mysterious. After hearing Bai Hengze's reply, the elders of the Flying Crane sect were relieved. Then, they looked happy. What did it mean for the heaven-earth spirit qi in the sect to rise to such an extent? They all knew very well. Soon this news spread throughout the entire Flying Crane sect. The disciples who were originally a little uneasy because of this matter also calmed down in an instant. As for the sect, some spies of the various sects also passed this news back. At this moment, the experts of the other sects finally knew the reason why the Flying Crane sect had gathered the heaven-earth spirit qi. I didn't expect Bai Hengze to make the right bet. The sect master could not help but grit his teeth. He could not help but admire Bai Hengze's courage. Previously, Zhang Ergo had also passed by his sect's sphere of influence, but he had turned a blind eye to it. There was no other reason. The power behind the person who could kill the Origin sect was definitely not ordinary. If he had rashly interfered, he would most likely have led to a calamity. However, now, the Flying Crane sect had taken advantage of this opportunity to rise to the top. With the effect of gathering the heaven-earth spirit qi, it would not take long. The other party would be able to produce a large number of true martial realm cultivators. When the time came, no sect in the True Dominion could compete with the Flying Crane sect. Chapter 385. The second day after Bai Hengze placed the array disk. In the sky above the Flying Crane sect, thunderclouds covered the sky again. However, compared to the thunderclouds a few days ago, the thunderclouds this time were even larger. Not only did they cover the entire mountain gate of the Flying Crane sect, but they also affected the surrounding land. Could Sect Master Qin be refining some powerful spirit weapon again? Looking at the thunderclouds in the sky, the oppressive aura made Bai Hengze feel uncomfortable. It wasn't just him. All the disciples of the Flying Crane sect were trembling in fear. After all, they were under the thunderclouds. Although they knew that the thunder tribulation wouldn't strike them, they couldn't help but feel terrified. However, it was different from the previous time. This time, the thunderclouds didn't strike immediately after they formed. Instead, it felt like the black clouds were pressing down on the city. Until the next day. Finally, a thunder tribulation struck. Crack. There was an explosion in the sky. When the first bucket-thick bolt of lightning struck down, the overflowing power caused everyone who was close to it to feel a slight numbness in their bodies. If the thunder tribulation a few days ago had surpassed the peak of the true martial realm, however, the thunder tribulation this time, even a cultivator of the spirit martial realm would have a change in expression. The existence of the True Dominion shackles could affect anything except the heavenly Tao itself. The thunder tribulation. It came from heaven and earth. To put it bluntly, it came from the heavenly Tao. Such power? It wouldn't be restricted and could easily surpass the limits of the True Dominion and reach another level. This was somewhat similar to the heavenly punishment. The difference was, when the heavenly punishment struck, even a heavenly man would die. However, the power of the thunder tribulation was far from that level. It seemed that the power of the thunder tribulation was much stronger. Therefore, the time it took for the thunderclouds to form a thunder tribulation was much longer. It was almost every 2 hours. Only one thunder tribulation struck. Very soon, 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 7 days, it was a very difficult 7 days for the Flying Crane sect. The thunder tribulation struck from time to time. The power caused by it made one's heart tremble. There was no chance to calm down and cultivate. Even if one could barely suppress the influence of the thunder tribulation, no one dared to cultivate by force. A careless remark. There was a chance that he would go berserk and die. When the last lightning tribulation fell, the thunderclouds that had covered the sky for many days retreated. Only then did everyone secretly heave a sigh of relief, feeling as if a huge stone that had been pressing on their hearts had been removed. The place where he went into seclusion. The 18 square array discs were shining brightly, quietly floating in the air. It's finally done. Qin Shujian took a deep breath, feeling as if a heavy burden had been lifted off his shoulders. In the next few days, he was almost completely focused and did not relax for a moment. He used up all the 50 kilograms of grade 9 forging materials that Marquis Moonfall had given him before finally refining the 18 square formation plate in front of him. Every square formation disc was a high-grade spirit artifact. When the 18 square array discs were combined, they were comparable to an ordinary Dao artifact. However, for Qin Shujian, this was a big deal. The 18 square array discs were comparable to a Dao artifact, but that was not the most important thing. Dao artifact. Although it was precious, strictly speaking, Yuan Zhong did not lack it. What he really cared about was that the successful refining of the 18 square array discs would be able to bear his current peak level of formation cultivation. Once the array discs were engraved on the array discs, then no matter when and where, he would be like a true immortal cultivator and would no longer fear anyone. However, if he encountered an existence like the moon-devouring demon king in the spirit domain, he would still have to retreat. However, there were probably not many Demon King level experts in the entire Great Zhao Empire. As for how many Demon Kings there were in the Endless Mountain Range, this was not within Qin Shujian's consideration. At least for now, the demon race did not dare to attack the human race. And according to his estimation, there would not be many Demon King level experts in the demon race. Otherwise, the strength of the demon race would be too frightening. Then, Qin Shujian simply recovered his vital essence. Then, with a solemn expression, he began to engrave the array discs on the array discs. The array discs he was engraving this time. It was not any other array discs. It was the array discs that used the 12 Dao artifacts as the foundation to severely injure Six Desires Demon Lord. It was a brand new array discs that Qin Shujian had deduced using the God-slaying demon-slaying 10,000 Spirits Annihilation Array and several other Grandmaster-level array discs as the foundation. That array discs, he did not name it. But in terms of power, it was much stronger than the God-slaying demon, slaying 10,000 Spirits Annihilation Array at its peak. Now, it was engraved on the 18 square array discs. When the time came, if he set up the array discs, although its power would not be as strong as when the 12 Dao artifacts were used as the foundation, it would not be too far off. Because the 12 Dao artifacts were not a single entity, although their power was strong, they were scattered. As for the 18 square array discs, although they were only superior grade spirit artifacts, they were a single entity and could unleash the power of the array discs. With Qin Shujian's current spiritual deity power, he was no weaker than a great cultivator of the divine martial realm. It was not difficult for him to completely engrave a Grandmaster-level formation. It only took a day. The 18 square array discs perfectly carried the strongest array discs he had. When the engraving was completely completed, the luster of the 18 square array discs was also more restrained. It was less radiant. It was more dignified. Qin Shujian reached out and waved his hand, and all the 18 square array discs were put into his storage ring. At this moment, he finally had the means to fight against enemies of the celestial being realm. Array Master, forming an array with a wave of his hand. Although this was a symbol, it did not mean that he was at the peak of his strength when he waved his hand to set up an array. For example, when he was dealing with the envoys of the Black Abyss, Qin Shujian still needed the array's interference to set up an array that was strong enough to kill the other party. But now, it was different. The array discs fell. This was the peak power of a Grandmaster-level array. No matter if you were a half-step celestial being or a celestial being, as long as you were not above the 4th level of the celestial being realm, you had to sit down obediently, although it was a little exaggerated. In fact, it was just an answer. After putting away the 18 square array discs, Qin Shujian came out of the place where he was in seclusion. As for the outside, a disciple of the Flying Crane sect sent by Hengzi was waiting there. Seeing Qin Shujian come out, the young disciple of the Flying Crane sect immediately stepped forward and bowed. "Greetings, Sect Master Qin. Where is Sect Master Bai?" "Sect Master is in the main hall, entertaining the people of the Celestial Array sect. Celestial Array sect? Hearing this, Qin Shujian was a little surprised. If he remembered correctly, the Celestial Array sect should be the largest array sect in the Fallen Moon Mansion, which was somewhat similar to the Pill Tripod sect in the Bayun Mansion. However, to be honest, the Pill Tripod sect was thousands of miles away from the Celestial Array sect. One was not even a large sect in the spirit realm. The other was a top sect. There was not much comparison between the two. Master Fong of the Celestial Array sect came in person. I heard that he wanted to meet you, Sect Master Qin, but you have been in seclusion, so Sect Master received him on behalf of you. I see. Qin Shujian nodded, then looked at the disciple and asked, "What's your name?" "I'm Ning Yueyin." Qin Shujian just went through this name in his mind and didn't think much about it. In his eyes, the other party's strength was not bad. At a young age, he faintly showed signs of entering the inner aura realm. If there was no accident, he should be a genius disciple of the Flying Crane sect. However, such a person, there was no lack of Yuan sect. Qin Shujian just found the other party pleasing to the eye, so he asked. In the main hall of the Flying Crane sect, Bai Hengzi was talking with an old man with white hair and a youthful face. However, from his respectful expression, it could be seen that he was greatly afraid of the person in front of him. Feng Xinglan, the current array master of the Celestial Array sect, was also an expert at the peak of the God martial arts realm. It was said that he was only one step away from breaking through to the Celestial realm. It could be said that the other party was the real top expert of the Celestial Array sect. The reason why the Celestial Array sect could be ranked as a top sect was because of the existence of Feng Xinglan. However, the Celestial Array sect itself also had a terrifying foundation. Every generation, there would be an array master who would establish their supreme status. Compared to Bai Hengzi's reverence, Feng Xinglan was much more easygoing, but there was still some arrogance between his eyebrows. This was not just for a certain person alone. It was because he was born this way. All of a sudden, Feng Xinglan paused and his ears moved slightly. He smiled and said, "It seems that Sect Master Qin has already come out of seclusion." Bai Hengzi was stunned and did not react in time. But without waiting for him to speak, he saw a person walking in from outside the main hall. Immediately, Bai Hengzi stood up and cupped his hands. "So it's Sect Master Qin." While speaking, he smiled again and said, "Sect Master Qin came at the right time. This is the Supreme Elder of the Celestial Array sect, Grand Master Feng Xinglan." Subsequently, Bai Hengzi said to Feng Xinglan, "Grandmaster Feng, this is Sect Master Qin of Yuan sect." "Grandmaster Feng, Grandmaster Qin." Feng Xinglan cupped his hands and returned the greeting. However, he did not call him Sect Master Qin, but Grandmaster Qin. Obviously, in his mind, the other party's identity as an array master was more important than his identity as the sect master of Yuan sect. At this moment, Feng Xinglan seemed to have restrained his arrogance. He looked at Qin Shujian and said with a faint smile, "I've heard of Grand Master Qin's reputation and have known you for a long time. Unfortunately, I've never had the chance to meet you. Later on, I heard that Grand Master Qin killed the moon-devouring Demon King in the Chongning True Dominion and immediately rushed over. Now that I've met Grand Master Qin, it's indeed better to meet you in person than to hear about you." "You flatter me, Grand Master Feng. I've heard of Grand Master Feng Xinglan's name for a long time." Grand Master Feng of the Fallen Moon Mansion deserves the title of the #1 Array Master, Qin Shujian said with a smile as he sat down naturally on the other side. The two of them had a round of mutual flattery when they met, and both of them had some admiration for each other. After all, there were not many array masters. In the entire Great Zhao, there were only a handful of people in the cultivation world who could reach this level. Feng Xinglan was one of them. Qin Shujian was one of them. As for the rest, there were only a few left. Chapter 386. As for Bai Hengzi, when Qin Shujian arrived, he heaved a sigh of relief. Even if he was the sect master of the Flying Crane sect, he still felt a lot of pressure in front of Feng Xinglan. In terms of strength, the Flying Crane Sect. It was hard to look up to the Sky Array Sect. Feng Xinglan was the supreme elder of the Sky Array Sect. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was the strongest person in the sect. Even in the entire Fallen Moon Mansion, Feng Xinglan's strength might be ranked in the top 3. In such a situation, he was only at the peak of the real martial arts realm. It was too difficult for him to have a decent and polite conversation in front of Feng Xinglan. As for Feng Xinglan's visit, it was purely for Qin Shujian. Since the Formation Master of the Baiyun Mansion came to the Fallen Moon Mansion, it was impossible for him, the Formation Master of the Fallen Moon Mansion, to not show up at all. He just happened to come over and take a look. He could also test Qin Shujian's background. However, after talking with Qin Shujian, Feng Xinglan realized that the other party's understanding of the Formation Dao was quite unfathomable. In less than half a day, the two ended their conversation. Feng Xinglan stood up and said, "Today's meeting with Sect Master Qin made me understand a lot of things. I still have other things to do in the Sky Array Sect, so I'll take my leave first." "Take care, Master Feng," Qin Shujian said. As for Bai Hengzi, he also stood up to send him off. After everything had been settled for the time being, Zhang Ruiqiang's expression changed. Qin Shujian said, "I've disturbed your sect for a long time. Now that I have other things to deal with, I'll take my leave. If Sect Master Bai has time in the future, you can come to the Sky Origin Sect." "Sect Master Qin, you're leaving so soon? I have other things to do, so I can't stay for long." "All right, I'll send you off." Bai Hengzi also felt a little regretful after hearing this. However, the other party was not from the Flying Crane Sect, so it was normal for him to leave. Hearing this, Qin Shujian waved his hand and said, "Don't bother, I'll go on my own." Speaking of this, he also cupped his hands. "See you another day. Sect Master Qin, take care. Goodbye." Qin Shujian took a step forward and soared into the air. The Flying Crane Sect did not have any sky-restricting array, so it was not difficult to fly. As for Zhang Ergu, he had already left the Flying Crane Sect a few days ago. Killing an evil spirit gave him a few thousand contribution points. With such a generous reward, how could he stay in the Yuan sect for too long? Therefore, after recovering from his injuries, Zhang Ergu took the Cosmos Bow and went on his way. As for Qin Shujian, originally, he had only come to the Fallen Moon Manor to check out the situation. He did not expect to encounter the moon-devouring demon monarch, much less kill a demon monarch. Even now, when he recalled his battle with the moon-devouring demon king, Qin Shujian was still somewhat solemn. He seemed to have the upper hand in the previous battle, which put him in a dangerous situation. After all, the moon-devouring beast king was still a beast king level expert. If he had ignored the heavenly tribulation and directly unleashed his demon king level power, he might not have been able to kill him so easily. Therefore, from the beginning to the end, Qin Shujian had the power to crush the moon-devouring demon king. However, he did not fully display it. He only showed that he was slightly stronger than the moon-devouring demon king and constantly wore down the moon-devouring demon king's strength. This gave the moon-devouring demon king an illusion. Even if he couldn't win, he could still escape. In this way, it would be difficult for the other party to make up his mind and unleash a power that surpassed the true dominion. He waited until the energy was almost exhausted. The moon-devouring demon king knew that his life was over. Even if he wanted to perish together with his opponent, there was no way for him to do so. "My strength is still too weak compared to a Yao King. That's why I need to grind away at my opponent's power step by step. Only then can I use the Mingwang Hellfire to refine him." If he was powerful enough, he wouldn't have been afraid of him forcibly breaking the shackles of the true dominion. With his body in the air, Qin Shujian was able to divert his attention to think about some things. The battle with the moon-devouring demon king seemed to be a fluke, but it was also part of his considerations. Talk from the beginning. It was obvious that the moon-devouring demon king cherished his life very much. Under such circumstances, as long as he wasn't really forced into a dead end and had a chance of survival, the other party wouldn't have thought of perishing together with him. Until the energy was almost exhausted. Only then would the other party's last chance of survival be cut off. However, Now that he had the 18 square array discs in his hands, Qin Shujian believed that he wouldn't have to do this if he met the moon-devouring Demon King again. When the time came, he would set up a peak stage Grandmaster array. Even if the Demon King attacked with all his might, he might not be able to break it. It was true that an array Dao Grandmaster couldn't contend with a Demon King. However, that didn't mean that they would collapse at the first touch. Between the two, there was still a big difference. It wasn't that they couldn't contend with a Demon King, but that they would be completely crushed. He set off from the Flying Crane sect. Qin Shujian headed to the nearest city. It didn't take long before he took the teleportation door and returned to the North Cloud Manor. The origin returning ancestral canon had been deduced to perfection. The Immortal King body had also been upgraded to level 10. Level 10 Immortal King body. It made one's physical body extremely powerful, far from what an ordinary prominent divine stage cultivator could compare to. The physical body secret chamber had been opened. Even if it was comparable to an ordinary demon clan of the same level, it was still much stronger. Such physical strength. Qin Shujian took the teleportation door and endured the erosion of the power of space, but there were still no negative effects. It only took him less than half a day to return to the North Cloud Manor. Next, I should continue to hunt down the evil spirits and collect enough life force. Whether it's to deduce a Dao artifact or to transform life source to improve, it's all very useful. After returning to the North Cloud Manor, Qin Shujian was already prepared to continue hunting demons. Compared to the information given by Marquis Bayun, the number of demons he killed during this period could only be said to be very small. As for the original 530 luck points, when Qin Shujian left the Flying Crane sect, it had quietly increased to 970 points. According to his plan, the speed of increase should slow down when the luck value broke through 1,000 points. Because he had only engraved 100 jade stones. Even if the players managed to kill one evil demon with one jade stone, they would only be rewarded with 1,000 luck points at most. As for the rest, it would depend on Zhao Shanlin and the others to hunt, and the speed would not be much faster. So for now, his luck value was still at a high level. Boom! The demon broke the seal and came out. Lightning fell from the sky. As the monstrous demonic energy rose, the entire fortress shook violently as if it would collapse at any time. Qin Shujian's body floated in the air, quietly watching the demon come out. This was the first fortress he went to after returning to the North Cloud Manor. After revealing his identity and showing Marquis Bayun's token, Qin Shujian entered the depths of the fortress without any resistance and then broke the seal altar with brute force. The moment the demon appeared, Qin Shujian waved his hand and released the 18 square array discs from the storage ring. Suddenly, as if a world had descended, it completely swallowed the void within a range of 3,000 feet, turning it into a brand new barrier. Woo! Boom! The demon that broke the seal and came out didn't have time to say too much. He saw the lightning in the sky turn into a long blade and slash down, forcibly choking back the words that had reached his throat. The lightning condensed into a long blade. It was enough to kill all living things. The demon couldn't care less about the shock in his heart and punched at the lightning long blade. As the two collided, the terrifying power of lightning exploded, causing him to fall back, and the skin and flesh on his arm burst open. Then, a longbow condensed in the sky again, and a beam of lightning turned into an arrow, aiming at the demon below. When the arrow burst out, a shocking light burst out, completely occupying the demon's vision. Array! Grandmaster Array! How dare you set up an array to attack me? Do you dare to come out and see me? The demon roared again and again. No matter how fast his attack was, it was not as fast as the arrow. Before he could punch out, his chest was pierced by the shocking arrow, and a big hole was directly blasted open. It was just that the body's strong recovery ability. It didn't die because of such an injury. Until now, the demon hadn't completely woken up. It seemed that it didn't expect such a large array to appear in the outside world, and it was so powerful that it, who had just broken the seal and had not recovered from the injuries it suffered before the seal, was almost powerless to resist. Qin Shujian was hiding in the dark. The 18-square array discs slowly rotated. Every second passed, a terrifying killing move came from the array. Every attack. It was far beyond the limit that the demon in front of him could resist. In less than half an hour, the demon's surging demonic aura had been exhausted, and the blood in his body kept flowing. It no longer had the characteristics of an immortal body that could constantly recover from injuries. The next moment, it was the bright king hellfire that burned and completely refined it. In the end, in the demon's puzzled and angry roar, the bright king hellfire completely swallowed him. Not long after, only a fire lotus was left lying there quietly in the air. Qin Shujian wanted to immediately absorb the fire lotus. But, just as he was about to kill the evil spirit, his luck value finally broke through the limit of 1,000 points. And just when his luck value broke through 1,000 points, Qin Shujian received the system's message. You have received 10 luck value. Your luck value has broken through 1,000 points. You have the Chaser's ability, Spiritual Eye, in your body. You can spend 1,000 luck value to upgrade it. Do you want to upgrade it? A few simple messages, but Qin Shujian was stunned on the spot. Chaser? Spiritual Eye? When he first obtained the Spiritual Eye, it was in the Huading Cave Mansion in the Immortal Plains. As for the Cave Mansion's token, it was dropped by chance after he killed the player. But after obtaining the Spiritual Eye, the Huading Cave Mansion was directly shattered. Or rather, the stone tablet to enter the Huading Cave Mansion was shattered. All along, the Spiritual Eye had almost become a passive skill of Qin Shujian. It was used to observe the changes in spirit aura, to see the loyalty of the sect disciples, and to see the enemy's name and attributes. Besides that, there was no other use. Chapter 387. It wasn't that Qin Shujian hadn't thought about the possibility of upgrading the spirit core, but his life force had always been increasing. The spirit core had never shown a signal that it could be upgraded. Even when his life force broke through to 100 million, the spirit core had never been able to be upgraded. Over time, in Qin Shujian's heart, this ability might belong to the category of being unable to be upgraded. After all, this was different from the martial arts that he had obtained. The spirit core did not belong to these two. As for the luck value, Qin Shujian only thought that it could be used to upgrade the Tao artifact and promote the sect's advancement. When his life force reached 100 million points, he found out that the luck value had an additional function of exchanging for life force. And now, when his luck value broke through 1,000 points, he gained another ability to upgrade his spirit core. All of a sudden, Qin Shujian found that there were still many things waiting for him to discover on his own in the attribute panel. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but open the attribute panel and look at his attributes again. Special ability column. A familiar plus sign had appeared behind the spirit core. This meant that the spirit core could really be upgraded. Pursuer. When Qin Shujian saw the 3 words that appeared in the system information, he was a little confused. This name, he had never heard of it before. This might be a title similar to a strong warrior, or it might come from a certain organization. However, with the current power of the Yuan sect, he had never heard of any pursuers. It seems that the Huading Cave should be left behind by the so-called pursuer. The spirit core is the ability of the pursuer, but it is definitely not the only ability. Qin Shujian did not forget. When he was in the Huading Cave, there were 3 stone doors, heaven, earth, and human. He only chose one of them, the other 2 stone doors. Before he had the chance to explore, he was forced out of the Huading Cave. This matter, Qin Shujian had never thought too much about it. As for the ability of the spirit core, he only thought that it was left behind by other powerful cultivators. At that time, he had only just broken through to the true martial realm. As for the methods of the stronger cultivators, he didn't have much understanding. But now that he thought about it carefully, however, he found that there was a big difference. Don't think that the Spirit Eye's ability is useless. Other than being able to see through loyalty, the rest of it is not very useful. However, just the fact that he could see through the loyalty of others was already mysterious enough. At least, in Qin Shujian's experience with so many experts, cultivation methods, and martial arts, he had never found anyone who possessed such an ability. However, after obtaining the spirit eye for a long time, Qin Shujian gradually got used to this ability and didn't feel that it was too abrupt. But now that he thought about it, however, his spirit essence was different in every aspect. Furthermore, it had reached the point where the system had issued a notification. Chaser. When I get back, I need to find out what a chaser is. As for the improvement of the spiritual eye, looking at the system prompt, Qin Shujian gave up on the idea of upgrading his spiritual eye. 1,000 luck points. Even if he couldn't upgrade the 1,000 mountain blood to a 4-seal Dao artifact, he could still convert it into 100 million life force sources. Such a source of life. It was almost equivalent to killing a demon king. However, how could a demon king be killed so easily? If the moon-devouring demon king hadn't rushed into the Chongning True Dominion in anger because his son had been killed, he wouldn't have died so easily. Outside the True Dominion, not to mention one Qin Shujian, even if there were 3 or 5 more, they would not be enough for the moon-devouring demon king to swallow. Plus, nobody knew what would happen after the spirit eye was upgraded. How much would it transform? If the effect of the metamorphosis was still not of much use to his strength, then the 1,000 points of luck points would have been wasted. Therefore, Qin Shujian had temporarily given up on the idea of upgrading his spirit eye. Now was the time when he lacked luck points and life force sources. It was too risky to take a gamble on a possibility full of uncertainty. When he had more luck points in the future, if he upgraded it again, he wouldn't feel so heartbroken. No matter what, the spirit eye had to be upgraded. It was only a matter of time. Suppressing his inner thoughts, Qin Shujian looked at the fire lotus. Then, he stretched out his hand and completely absorbed it. When the pure energy surged into his body, the spirit eye changed slightly. This allowed the spirit god to change slightly, and it barely managed to break through to 680 feet. It was devouring the moon-devouring demon king. His spirit eye had already exceeded the range of 670 feet. Later on, he had upgraded the primordial returning ancestral scripture by 2 levels and devoured an evil fiend. The combined energy had finally upgraded his spirit eye. Then, Qin Shujian reached out and waved his hand. The 18 square array discs hidden in the void appeared and were put into his storage ring. Meanwhile, the grand formation that covered the area also disappeared completely, revealing a shattered scene. On the ground, there was still a remnant fiend chi. Qin Shujian didn't use the array discs this time. Instead, he used the method of carving arrays in the void to set up a purification array. Then, he surrounded the land that had been contaminated by the fiend chi. The purification array has been set up. The fiend chi in this area will be purified in 3 to 5 years, or 8 to 10 years. After doing all this, he looked at the fort commander who had rushed over and said, "Thank you for your help. Many thanks to Sovereign Qin for your help. We will never forget this. I still have to head to other forts. I will take my leave first." After saying that, Qin Shujian's divine sense flew into the air and left the fort. After discovering a new function of luck points, he was now in urgent need of more sources of life. Especially now, the primordial returning ancestral scripture had been upgraded to perfection. His cultivation base had entered the peak of the vision domain stage. One more step, and he would reach the god martial realm. What he had to do now, that was to collect enough life force to upgrade the other 6 cultivation techniques to the next level, making up a complete number. The deeper the foundation accumulated in the spirit martial realm, the greater the transformation after breaking through to the god martial realm. As for the fusion of martial arts, the easier it would be to obtain a high-level martial arts after fusing 7 martial arts. In the past, Qin Shujian thought that it didn't matter whether the martial arts were low-grade or mid-grade. Anyway, it could be deduced to the high-grade level in the end. But now it was different. After the spirit martial realm, the deduction and upgrade of the 2 sects had been separated. The consumption of life sources had also increased exponentially. If he could fuse a high-grade cultivation technique, then it would be enough to save a lot of life sources. After leaving the original fort, Qin Shujian went to other forts. With the 18 square array in hand, Unless it was an 8-star array or a 9-star array, he almost didn't need to do it himself. He could kill the evil spirits with the array alone. As for encountering more than 2 evil spirits, it was inevitable that he would personally take action. After more than a month, Qin Shujian had walked through half of the Baiyun mansion. The number of evil spirits that had died in his hands had reached a very exaggerated number. As for the luck value, he had also obtained 3,780 points. So many luck value. According to his guess, it was enough to upgrade a 4-seal Dao artifact. It was even possible to upgrade the sect to a 6th-level force. As for the exchange of life sources, with such a large amount of luck value exchanged for life sources, it was almost enough to upgrade more than half of the cultivation techniques to the perfection stage of the spirit martial technique. However, up until now, the speed of the increase of luck value had become very slow. Unless Qin Shujian killed it himself, otherwise, even if a few days passed, the luck value column wouldn't necessarily be able to move. The jade stones in the hands of the players should have been used up. Only Zhao Shanlin and the others are left. It won't be easy to find the place where the evil spirits are sealed in the ordinary realm. The next words, the speed of the increase of luck value is about 30% slower than before. Qin Shujian silently calculated. It was more or less the same situation. As for the continuous refining of evil spirits during this period of time, his spirit god had also increased from 680 feet to 820 feet. For more than a month, Qin Shujian had refined at least 100 evil spirits, but even so, the spirit god had only grown by 140 feet from its original foundation. This also made him understand. The more energy the spirit god needed to increase, the more it could be described as terrifying. Just as Qin Shujian was constantly hunting evil spirits, the Baiyun mansion wasn't really peaceful. After all, in the Thousand Mountains mansion, the ordinary realm was limited. Compared to a large number of players, the cities that could be captured by players were simply too many wolves and too little meat. There was not enough to share. So, there were other players who wanted to become a duke, targeting the ordinary realms of other mansions. Although Marquis Baiyun had killed a celestial being demon and intimidated the demon clan, but for the players at the bottom, there was no difference between the celestial being realm experts. As for the powerful demon king and demon saint, they didn't have any contact with them. In the 13 mansions of Great Zhao, the strength of the Baiyun mansion was considered average. After all, on the surface, there was only one celestial being, Marquis Baiyun. In this situation, there were players who organized a lot of people to attack the ordinary realm of the Baiyun mansion. In a short period of time, they had captured many cities. It was just that these players had just taken down the cities. Marquis Baiyun immediately sent troops to suppress them. Both sides had already set off the flames of war in various ordinary realms. As long as you defend Tranquil Sun City, everyone who participates in the battle will be rewarded 10,000. If you kill 10 enemies, you will be rewarded 10,000. If you kill 100 enemies, you will be rewarded 100,000. Start recording the battle. After the battle, I will focus on the video and give out rewards. On the city wall, a player's city lord shouted angrily. The players on the city wall immediately became excited. Most of them revealed excited expressions. As for the people below, it was the Imperial Court's siege army. In less than 3 days after taking down the city, the Imperial Court sent troops to attack. The player's city lord who took down the city also felt disgusted as if he had eaten a fly. But now that they had paid a huge price to take down the city, there was no reason for them to give it up. So, now they had to defend the city and resist the Imperial Court's attack. As long as they could resist for a few days, if the army couldn't take down the city after a long time, they would naturally retreat. Relying on the player's ability to revive, it was possible to defend the city. The only problem was, it was that they would burn a lot of money. But for those who could take down the city and become a duke, money was often the easiest to get. Chapter 388. Players who could become vassals. None of them were short of money. Or rather, players who lacked money were not qualified to become vassals. For the players at this stage, Every time they took down a city, they would have to pay a huge price. Because attacking a city was difficult, defending a city was even more difficult. Often, if they failed, they would lose everything. So until now, there weren't many vassals among the players. It wasn't that there weren't many who took down the city, but that there weren't many who could defend the city under the attack of the imperial army. However, for many rich and powerful people in reality, taking down the city, it wasn't necessary to defend the city. Even if it was just for a world announcement, there would still be people who would spend a lot of money to win it. In the eyes of these people, fame was often more important than benefits. Moreover, not being able to defend the city didn't mean that they would lose money, because once they saw that the city couldn't be defended, the players would drive others to rob the city of its wealth. Under such circumstances, even if they were killed, it was impossible for all of their things to drop. After reviving, they would sell the things in their bags. Basically, they wouldn't lose much. So, this was also the reason why those rich and powerful people, despite knowing that it was difficult to defend the city, would still insist on attacking the city and become vassals. Zongyang City. Marquis. Now that the Inhumans are causing trouble at the border, more than a dozen cities in the ordinary realm have fallen into their hands. I don't know how we should deal with it. A general cupped his hands and said in a deep voice. As soon as he finished, immediately, another general said, "These Inhumans are causing trouble, and it's hard to guarantee that other Inhumans won't do the same. This subordinate suggests that we should take action now, kill all the Inhumans in the Bayun Mansion, and expel them all, not giving them any chance. This is not appropriate. If the Inhumans don't die, it will be difficult to completely cure them. Then according to General Chun, are we going to tolerate the Inhumans causing trouble?" In the Bayun Mansion, the generals were arguing. Marquis Bayun sat in the main seat and didn't interrupt. After the scene quieted down, he looked at Fu Bo and asked, "In Mr. Fu's opinion, how should we deal with this matter?" Hearing this, Fu Bo had already expected it. When he heard Marquis Bayun's greeting, he immediately stood up and cupped his hands with a calm expression. Reporting to the Marquis, in this subordinate's opinion, those who rebel should be suppressed with thunderous force. They must not be allowed to live. As for the other mutants in Bayun Manor, I think we should try to appease them and not act rashly. What do you mean by that, Mr. Fu? The general who suggested to kill the mutants said unhappily. Fu Bo explained, "General O, you should understand that the mutated humans are similar to evil devils, and they have immortal bodies. Even if we drive them away, it'll be difficult for us to eliminate them completely. If we aren't careful, we might attract the hostility of the mutants, and it won't do us any good. Also, General O, you should stop looking. Although the world people are not strong now, they have only appeared for less than 3 years, and there are already experts in the spirit martial realm. Also, the overall number of world people is not much less than the human race of the Great Zhao dynasty. The Inhumans are like explosives that can explode at any time. Bayun Manor must not be the fuse." Fu Bo spoke with fervor and assurance. He had his own unique views on the matters of the Inhumans. Just when everyone in the hall was speechless, he looked at Marquis Bayun, who was sitting at the main seat, and cupped his hands again. Also, although the world people came from beyond the heavens, they are not much different from the human race of the Great Zhao dynasty. Most importantly, the world people prioritize benefits, and their internal strife is extremely fierce. As long as we spend some benefits to recruit some of them, we won't have to worry about the hidden dangers of the world people. Although the world people have taken down more than 10 cities in Bayun Manor, to put it bluntly, the cities in the ordinary realm are dispensable to us. No matter how many of them are lost, it won't hurt the foundation of Bayun Manor. However, General O is right about one thing. We must take back the cities that we lost, and not give the world people any hope of conquering Bayun Manor. Only then can we stop the world people from coveting our cities." After he finished speaking, Fu Bo once again cupped his hands and returned to his seat. Hearing this, Marquis Bayun looked at the others and said gently, "What do you think, Mr. Fu?" Seconded. Seconded. The rest of the people did not object and nodded in response. It had to be said. This was the best way to deal with the world people. Marquis Bayun said, "Pass down my order." Wipe out all the cities that the world people have taken down in Bayun Manor within 5 days. There must be no mistakes. Yes, Marquis Bayun. Also, Marquis Bayun looked at Xiaohong and said calmly, Qin Shujian killed a monster king in Fallen Moon Manor and strengthened the reputation of the human race. Since Du Qingwu can give a reward, the imperial court should give a reward as well. 3 days later, there will be a messenger from the imperial court. Bring the reward to the Liang Mountain spiritual region and hand it over to Yuanzong. Yes. Xiaohong accepted the order respectfully. The Marquis of Northern Cloud nodded slightly, and the matter was decided. Marquis Du Qingwu could give a reward. The imperial court would not be stingy. After all, killing a monster king was not only a matter of one manor, but also a matter of the entire human race. However, Qin Shujian left Fallen Moon Manor very quickly. In addition, it would take some time for the news to be sent back and for the reward to be discussed. Gradually, the imperial court had finally decided on the reward. As for the messenger from the imperial court, it was impossible for him to go to the Liang Mountain spiritual region personally. After all, this was Bayun Manor. The matter still needed to be handled by Marquis Bayun. Soon, Marquis Bayun waved his hand and asked everyone to leave. World people. At this moment, there was coldness in his gentle face. In Marquis Bayun's eyes, anyone who dared to cause trouble in Bayun Manor was a traitor and must be killed. However, it was just as Fu Bo had said. The world people would not die. No matter how the imperial court tried to kill them, there was no way to kill all of them. In addition, the number of world people was not less than the human race of the Great Zhao Empire. If they sent out troops to suppress them, even if they succeeded, it would definitely lead to a counterattack from other world people. When that time came, it was not something that one or two powerful figures could solve. If one could not handle it well, it might even lead to a war similar to the one between the human race and the monster race thousands of years ago. Now, the world people were different from the monster race. Although the world people were born from outer space, they were no different from the human race of the Great Zhao Empire in terms of appearance and other aspects. Therefore, the human race of the Great Zhao Empire could accept the world people. Unlike the Yao clan, they were completely foreign to the demon clan. In addition, although the world people did not have top experts, in the face of their undying characteristics, under certain circumstances, they were much more difficult to deal with than the monster race. Although the monster race was powerful, they would eventually die and be destroyed. Even the powerful monster kings and monster saints would fall one day. In comparison, the world people were even more troublesome. To be honest, the world people might be the biggest variable in this world. The voice in his mind sounded. When it mentioned the world people, its tone changed slightly. Variable. Marquis Bayun stood up and slowly walked out of the hall. His lips did not move, but the voice in his mind replied, in your opinion, are the variables good or bad? Variables are not easy. For this matter, it is best to have variables. Is the world people's undying related to the demon abyss? It shouldn't be related. I can't sense the aura of the demon abyss on the world people. If it is really related to the demon abyss, it can't hide from my perception. Hearing this, Marquis Bayun was relieved. As long as the world people had nothing to do with the demon abyss. Otherwise, things would become even more troublesome. Even though all the evil spirits that were born in the new regions were suppressed, that was only because the number of evil spirits that were born was not large, and they were not very strong. In addition, the Great Zhao was already prepared, so suppressing them was naturally not a problem. Just like last time, the demon god personally took action, which was obviously beyond the Great Zhao's expectations. In the end, the demon god even risked serious injuries and directly tore through space to escape. It could be seen how difficult it was for a high-level demon to seal it. And according to Marquis Bayun's understanding, the number of demons in the demon abyss was immeasurable, and the weakest was at the heaven realm. Fortunately, the demons could not casually leave the demon abyss and did not have many opportunities to step into this world. Or else, the human clan might not be able to maintain their current status. Although these world people have nothing to do with the demon abyss, now that more and more areas have been born, this world has spread infinitely to the outside world. I have already faintly sensed the aura of the demon abyss outside this world. Marquis Bayun stood in front of the door of the hall, but the voice in his mind sounded again. At this time, the indifferent words were a little more dignified. If the world continues to evolve, then it will get closer and closer to the demon abyss. At that time, it might completely connect with the demon abyss. At that time, it will be another great calamity of the world. The fact that the demon god was able to tear through space and enter here is a proof that the world is close to the demon abyss. You don't have much time left. In the face of the power of the demon abyss, even a mighty figure can't protect himself. You are still a little weak if you want to protect the Bayun mansion alone. As for protecting the entire human clan, you still have a long way to go. Hearing these words, Marquis Bayun's expression did not change much. It was just that when he heard that the world was approaching the demon abyss, his expression became a little solemn, but he quickly recovered. When the mysterious voice in his mind stopped, he asked again, "How long will it take for the world to come into contact with the demon abyss? Maybe hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years. This time is not fixed. The speed of the expansion of the world is completely dependent on the spiritual energy in the world. The more powerhouses there are in the world, the faster the expansion of the world will be. I can't give you an exact answer as to how long it will take." Chapter 389. Hundreds of years. Thousands of years. This answer was within Marquis Bayun's expectation. After all, it took time for the world to expand. Thinking of this, he asked again, "Is there any possibility of stopping the expansion of the world?" "Yes." "What is it?" "Kill. Kill most of the experts in the world. No one will absorb the spiritual energy of the world, and the world will not absorb energy from the outside world. Without enough spiritual energy, the world will not expand." The word kill contained the essence of killing. Hearing this, Marquis Bayun fell into silence. Rather than calling this method a method, it would be better to call it a completely impossible path. Kill all the cultivators in the world. That would be equivalent to severing the entire cultivation world, and even all the cultivation legacies in the world. When that time came, there would only be ordinary people left in the world. There would be no more cultivators. No one would absorb spiritual energy. The world would not expand. However, to do this, one must have the power to rival the world in the decisiveness of a warrior. Even if it was the human emperor, he could not do this. Moreover, although this method prevented the world from touching the demon abyss, it would also completely cut off the path of cultivation. It was not necessarily a good thing. Therefore, when he heard this sentence, he was shocked. After a short silence, Marquis Bayun shook his head and said, "If cultivation is cut off, it will be the end of the world. How difficult it is." After saying this, Yizichin smiled. He put this matter aside for the time being. No matter what happened, there was still a long time before that day. The most important thing at the moment was, it was still about the demon race and the mutants. Especially if the mutants did not die, they would be a big problem. I wonder if Zhu Bing can kill the mutants completely. Suddenly, a thought arose in Marquis Bayun's mind, but he immediately suppressed it. Ancestral weapons were capable of completely annihilating evil spirits, but he might not be able to kill the mutants completely. However, if there was a chance, he could give it a try. As long as he could find the weakness of the mutants, it would be much easier to deal with this race in the future. On the other side, after Marquis Bayun's order was passed down, the Imperial Army and the Bayun Mansion moved out in large numbers. Tens of millions of troops surrounded all the player cities tightly, leaving them no way out. Holy shit! Dong Zisher involuntarily cursed when he saw that the city he was in was completely surrounded by 3 layers of densely packed soldiers. It was difficult to count the number of soldiers that had surrounded the city. He had never heard of it before. Which player's city would be attacked by so many of the Imperial Court's armies? He remembered the most tragic battle on the forum. They only had an army of 500,000. Naturally, the player city had been breached, but they had also killed many soldiers. As for the city lord player, He had used this opportunity to increase his grade. Therefore, it was hard to say whether it was a loss or a gain. However, the corners of Dong Zishir's mouth twitched violently as he looked at the army surrounding his city. This was far more than 500,000 yuan. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that it was 1,000,000 yuan. When would they be able to attract an army of 1,000,000 just by attacking a city in the ordinary realm? If this continued, would the players still have a chance to stabilize their status as marquises? City Lord, the Imperial Court, the Great Zhao's offensive is too intense. What should we do? A player walked up to Dong Zishir, sweating profusely. His voice was trembling. Players couldn't die. However, being surrounded by 1,000,000-strong army, the aura that was like a black cloud pressing down on a city was enough to suffocate these people. Hearing that, Dong Zishir gritted his teeth. What else can we do? Block them all. Even if we can't block them, we have to block them. As long as the city doesn't fall, the army will definitely retreat. Otherwise, what will all of us eat and drink? 1,000,000-strong army. The daily consumption was an astronomical number. Such supplies, even if other cities provided them, the ordinary realm was far away and needed time to transport them. With that, the army's offense couldn't last for too long. Based on Dong Zishir's estimations, in at most 3 to 5 days, the army would retreat. The only problem now was whether or not he could defend for these 3 to 5 days. When that player heard that, he said with difficulty, those NPCs that surrendered, seeing the Great Zhao's army attacking, many of their hearts have started to waver. If this continues, even if the army doesn't attack, we will collapse on our own. Kill. Dong Zishir's face turned vicious as he said coldly, kill all those who want to rebel. Kill them until no one has such thoughts. However, if we do that, it will cause resistance. If we don't kill them, we will die. If we kill them, we will have a chance of survival. If the city is about to fall, then what is the use of having them? Dong Zishir's face was dark as he said decisively. In his eyes, these NPCs were just data. So what if he killed them? As for the problem of reviving, he had never worried about it. These NPCs belonged to this city. Right now, he was the city lord of the city. Once he gave up his city lord identity, these NPCs would become like refugees. When that time came, there would be no revival. Outside the city, within the army tent, a middle-aged burly general sat on the main seat. Beside him sat Li Guang'an and a few other generals. Just at that moment, a scout came in from outside and knelt down on one knee. General, our army has surrounded the city. I guarantee that not a single bird will be able to escape. Good. Oguoji's face calmed down. He waved his hand to dismiss the scout before looking at the others and asking in a low voice, in your opinion, what should we do next? The Inhumans are not strong. Just attack the city. A general stood up and cupped his fists. General, as long as you give me 100,000 troops, I will definitely take down the city within a day. Not appropriate. Before Oguoji could speak, Li Guang'an shook his head and said, this battle must be won beautifully. We must also create a crushing momentum for the Inhumans. One day is too long. Then in your opinion, what should we do? All troops attack. Within 2 hours, break through the city and kill all the Inhumans. Li Guang'an said word by word. Hearing that, Oguoji nodded and said in a low voice, that's right. Pass down my order. Attack the city. We must take it down within 2 hours. Yes. Soon, the army that was only surrounding the city suddenly moved. Like lightning, they launched an attack towards the city. 1,000,000 troops attacked the city. The soldiers almost fell one after another. Scaling ladders were placed on the city walls. A large number of people climbed up the ladders. Besides that, there were even cultivators above the 6th level of the martial realm who used some gaps in the city as footholds. With the momentum of soaring into the air, they directly got rid of the effect of the scaling ladders and charged towards the city. In less than 10 minutes, Zhang Xian's expression changed drastically. There were already soldiers of the imperial court who charged up the city walls and began a confrontation with the defenders. For a moment, shouts filled the sky. A bloody massacre began. For every person killed, 1,000 pieces will be rewarded. Everyone kill. Dong Zisher was about to go crazy. While commanding the players and the defenders to fight, he was thinking of a way to deal with it. Although he knew that it would be a difficult situation for an army of 1,000,000 to attack the city. But he absolutely did not expect. It was just the beginning, but their side was completely suppressed. Looking at the situation in front of them, not to mention holding on for 3 to 5 days, even if he could hold on for 3 to 5 hours, it was a problem. Outside the tent, Li Guang'an and Ogwuji each rode on a monster. Looking at the scene of slaughter on the city walls, their expressions did not change. But Dong Zisher, who was commanding on the city walls, caught their attention. If I remember correctly, that person should be the leader of the players in this city. Ogwuji looked at Dong Zisher and said faintly. Towards this kind of inhuman who had captured a city, the imperial court had the corresponding portrait and information. After all, after the city was captured, it did not mean that the imperial court's forces were completely removed. There would still be some spies in the city to collect useful information for the imperial court. Li Guang'an nodded and said, "From the information, it should be this person. With Li Guang'an's means, can you take this person's life? It's as easy as turning over my hand." Li Guang'an's expression did not change. Only the eyes that looked at Dong Zisher had a bit more killing intent. The storage ring flashed. A bow and an arrow had already appeared in his hands. The next moment, he directly pulled the bow and arrow. The thin spiritual chi of heaven and earth slightly condensed. When the true chi was attached to it, it caused a dense light to flow on the arrow. Immediately, his fingers loosened. In an instant, the arrow flew through the air and swept toward the city wall like a meteor catching up with the moon. Dong Zisher, who was originally commanding on the city wall, felt a pain in his body before he realized what was going on. Then, a white light appeared in front of his eyes and he disappeared on the spot. As for the others, they were also shocked by the sudden change. The long arrow that directly shot Dong Zisher had returned to Li Guang'an's hands as if it had completed its task. Li Guang'an's archery is good, Ogwuji praised. Li Guang'an said, "It's just a small trick. It's nothing." On the other side, the city wall was now in chaos. For the players, the death of the city lord was nothing. After all, he could be resurrected in a while. But for the original defenders in the city, this change was the last straw that crushed their hearts. Originally, when the imperial court's army attacked, these people wanted to surrender. But because of Dong Zisher's ruthless methods, they were temporarily deterred. After all, the defenders who could surrender to the players at the beginning would not be too brave. But now it was different. Dong Zisher was shot to death. The thoughts that were forcibly suppressed in the bottom of these people's hearts surged again. Soon, someone threw down the weapon in his hand and shouted loudly, "I'm willing to surrender. Please spare my life." As the first person threw down his weapon, even more people threw down the weapons in their hands and shouted that they wanted to surrender. Suddenly, the city's defense system completely collapsed with the surrender of a large number of defenders. Chapter 390. On the forum, most of the posts were related to the players. After any player took down a city and became a duke, there would be related posts and videos on the forum, attracting the attention of other players and causing heated discussions. After all, to be able to become a duke, even if it was just a small duke who owned a city, it would take a lot of manpower and resources. It was very difficult. It was not something that dozens or hundreds of players could do. Now, any player who was qualified to become a duke was basically someone with power and influence in the real world. Only a very small number of people, only those who developed well in the game world, could become a duke without relying on power in the real world. But no matter what, as long as a player could become a duke, they would be publicly in the first echelon, and they would be the top ones. One world announcement was enough for these people to become famous. But recently, in the player forum, there were many videos of the NPC army attacking the city, suppressing many videos of the players attacking the city, especially the densely packed number of people. This caused everyone to be extremely fearful. In the comments section, first comment, TSK TSK, So many NPCs besieging the city. Each person's saliva could drown the city. Marquis Baiyun is really ruthless. Second comment. I am willing to call Baiyun Mansion the strongest. Third comment. A small city and they used 1,000,000 troops to attack it. Is the NPC army in Baiyun Mansion really that big? Fourth comment. I heard that Baiyun Mansion directly used 1,000,000 troops this time. Fifth comment. Awesome. Two simple words, representing the shock in my heart. 1,000,000 troops just to attack a city in the ordinary region. This time, Marquis Baiyun's action could be said to have shocked everyone. Some players even knew. Not only did the Northern Cloud Manor mobilize 1,000,000 soldiers, but they also mobilized tens of millions of soldiers. All of the players who managed to conquer a city in the Northern Cloud Manor did not even last for 2 hours before their city was breached and all of them perished. As for the losses, it was needless to say. The players under him killed the enemies and provided experience for the players who were the city lords. That was under the premise of continuous fierce battles. In a situation like this, from the beginning to the end, it was a one-sided suppression, and the experience that could be gained was not much. The only gain, it was probably the loot in the city. However, players who were able to take down a city wouldn't do it purely for money. Instead, they would do it for long-term development. Only when there was no hope of defending it would they do something like this. However, this time, all the cities had been destroyed too quickly. In less than 2 hours, how much could they have collected? It could be said that, this time, all the players in Baiyun Manor suffered a huge loss. Before that, when players captured a city, although they would attract a large army to attack them, it would not be too serious. At most, the army would be twice as strong as the original city's defenders. This way, as long as they paid a small price, they might be able to defend it. This was also the reason why. The reason why some players were so passionate about sieging a city was because as long as they had money, defending a city would not be a problem. However, the situation in Baiyun Manor was different. Almost none of them had happened at all. However, after this incident, the Baiyun Mansion became an epic level of difficulty in the eyes of the players. After all, how much manpower and resources did they have to expend in order to defend a city in the ordinary realm with an army of over 1,000,000? After such a big battle, apart from those top player forces, half of the others were probably crippled. Even if they looted the city's treasures, they would not be able to recover their HP. So this way, some players who originally wanted to attack Baiyun Manor all gave up the idea in their hearts. There was no other way. This Marquis Baiyun was too tough. He was tough to the goblin race. He was tough to the players too. If he wanted to kill a celestial demon, he would kill a celestial demon. If he wanted to destroy a player's city, he would destroy a player's city. As long as the players could resist for a few minutes during the siege, it would not make the others despair. However, when they saw the unstoppable siege in the video, everyone gave up their final struggle. There was no way to fight. At least the players at this stage could not fight. Anyway, there was not only one Baiyun Manor in the 13 Great Zhao prefectures. There was no need to target one. The other prefectures had vast territories. They could also satisfy the needs of the players. However, this incident was a wake-up call for the other players. That was, if there was any movement in the prefectures without rebel forces, it might attract the full force of the imperial court to suppress it. As for the prefectures that were in chaos, it was easy to take advantage of the situation. Both sides could not care about each other. Naturally, they did not have any extra strength to deal with them. Within Thousand Mountains Prefecture, Marquis, most of the Great Zhao forces are gathered in Southern Hill Prefecture and Fallen Moon Prefecture. The defense of Thousand Mountains Prefecture is definitely empty. I suggest we send troops to other cities. If we want to reclaim the lost land, it will be much easier. Within the Marquis Manor, Bu Tianhua cupped his hands and suggested. Hearing this, one of the generals stood up and cupped his fists. Advisor Bu is right. Our army has rested for a few months and has recovered a lot of our losses. If we send troops now, we can reclaim all the lost land. As for the others, although they did not say anything, looking at their expressions, one could roughly guess what they meant. Seeing this, Gu Changqing nodded slightly and said, "That's good too." Our army has rested for a few months. We can use this chance to reclaim the cities first. If we take down the cities, all the great Zhao soldiers will surrender. The current Thousand Mountains prefecture can't take too much losses. There had been a series of battles. Many of his men had died. No matter how many people there were in Thousand Mountains prefecture, they couldn't take so much. Their main goal was to surrender. The main goal was to fill the gap in the army's strength. Moreover, these were the great Zhao soldiers. With some training, they could turn them into their own strength. This way, they could save a lot of time. Speaking of this, Marquis Qianshan changed the topic and said in a low voice, "During this time, the players have been causing trouble at the border. I heard that many cities have fallen into their hands. Advisor, how do you think we should deal with this? The players are just a small problem. They can't do much. Right now, the main goal is to defeat the great Zhao forces. It won't be too late to deal with these players later." Bu Tianhua did not hesitate and replied confidently. In his eyes, although the players were developing quickly, their foundation was still too shallow. It would be difficult for them to achieve anything in a short time. This matter could be put aside for now. Once the problem with De Zhao was solved, he could turn around and wave his hand to get rid of all these inhumans. The next day, Marquis Qianshan, Gu Chongqing, mobilized his army and attacked the great Zhao. Thousand Mountains prefecture, which had been peaceful for a few months, fell into chaos again. Originally, Yin Saija had withdrawn his army. The defending army in Thousand Mountains prefecture was mainly focused on defense. They did not attack the rebel army easily. As for Gu Chongqing, he had been recuperating and did not start a fight easily. In the end, Thousand Mountains prefecture was peaceful for a while. Of course, this peace was only relative. Almost everyone knew that sooner or later, the rebels in Thousand Mountains prefecture and the forces of the imperial court would once again wage war. The former could not tolerate the existence of the imperial court. The imperial court could not tolerate the latter's existence either. Between the two sides, they were like fire and water. There was no possibility of reconciliation. However, in the eyes of others, Yin Saija had led most of his forces back to Zhong State Prefecture. The remaining defending army must be weak. They might not stand a chance against Gu Chongqing's attack. However, what surprised everyone was that the imperial court's defending army was not weak. Instead, it was very strong. Although it was not as strong as the rebel army, the difference was not big. The two sides had just met, and they were already in a fierce battle. Kill. A city was besieged by a large number of rebels. The defending army on the city wall defended the city. No matter how the rebels attacked, they did not show any signs of defeat. Any rebel who managed to climb up the city wall could not hold on for long. They were killed in an instant. From the beginning of the battle until now, 3 to 4 hours had passed. The defending army on the city wall had been rotated twice. The attacking army had also changed a lot. However, no one could hold on for more than 3 breaths when they climbed up the city wall. At the same time, there was a shield above the city. It prevented cultivators above the airborne realm from flying in the air. They could directly cross the city wall and kill their way into the city. At the same time, many cultivators were bombarding the formation shield. However, no matter how powerful they were, they could not shake the shield at all. In the rebel camp, Guotong looked at the city shield in front of him with a serious face. He turned his head to look at a middle-aged man and said seriously, "Grandmaster Ran, I'll have to trouble you to break this city's defender formation." Grandmaster Ran nodded and said with a faint smile, "It's a piece of cake." After that, he took a step into the air and immediately flew toward the defender formation. Guotong, who was standing in the same place, now looked much more relaxed. Ran Gaoyang. He was one of the 2 formation masters under Gu Chongqing. He was also the main force that had attacked Ming Jingshan and blocked the attack of the imperial army. This time, he came with the army to take down the city with the least amount of casualties and the fastest speed. In his opinion, as long as Ran Gaoyang took action, the so-called defender formation would not be able to do anything. On the other side, when Ran Gaoyang approached the city's protective shield, his originally indifferent expression gradually turned grave. In his eyes, the formation in front of him seemed to be made by nature. There was not a single flaw left. It made him feel as if he did not know where to start. This formation is definitely not left by Ming Jingshan. Ran Gaoyang was certain as soon as he saw the formation. Ming Jingshan himself was very clear about his own capabilities. Although his cultivation in formation Dao was impressive, there was no way he could have set up such a formation. Could it be? It's Qin Shujian. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.